Chapter 5:14. Uncle, are you afraid of that Li Fan? Wang Baiqiang felt a little unbelievable. This is my uncle, Sun Jiaoyang. Who is Sun Jiaoyang? He is the legendary godfather of a city. Even if he retired, his legend is still spread everywhere in the underworld of a city. But today, Wang Baiqiang saw it with his own eyes and heard it with his own ears. His legendary uncle is actually afraid of a high school student. He is old, bang. At this moment, the cabin door suddenly slammed. Sun Jiaoyang raised his head. A bodyguard standing behind him also subconsciously pulled out a pistol. What's the situation? Sun Jiaoyang frowned and asked. No, I don't know. The flight attendant was obviously a little confused. She didn't know what happened. The cabin door is closed. Could it be that someone outside smashed the door? This cabin door is very thick. Even bullets can't penetrate it. Who is making a move on the cabin door? Bang! The cabin door made another loud noise, and then it was forcibly pulled down by someone. Li Fan threw the cabin door aside and walked into the cabin. Sun Jiaoyang's bodyguard fired without hesitation. Bang, bang, bang. He fired 3 shots in a row, but Li Fan just clapped his hands and slapped the 3 bullets to the side. A bullet hit the wall next to him and bounced back to the bodyguard's leg, shooting him to the ground. It's not suitable to play with guns here, friend. Li Fan kindly reminded the bodyguard, then walked over and sat in front of Sun Jiaoyang. Mr. Sun, let's talk? Li Fan moved his fingers. Pour me a glass of Coke with ice. Thank you. There were a lot of good alcohol on the plane, but Li Fan didn't know these things. There was no need to show off. The beautiful flight attendant was stunned there and didn't know what to do. Pour it to him. Sun Jiaoyang waved his hand, and the flight attendant served Li Fan. Li Fan. Although Wang Baiqiang was particularly strong-willed just now, he didn't dare to say a word when he saw Li Fan. His legs felt weak, and he didn't even have the strength to speak loudly. Lil Wang, we meet again. Li Fan picked up the cola and took a sip. Where are you going in such a hurry? We haven't caught up yet. Li Fan, what are you trying to do? Wang Baiqiang forced himself to focus and asked. Why are you asking me? Why don't you ask me what you want first? Li Fan tapped his fingers on the table. Mr. Sun, you've crossed the line. Brother Li, what do you mean by that? I don't understand. Sun Jiaoyang asked calmly as he smoked. My nephew and I are planning to go abroad to settle down. Why are you looking for me? Although he was pretending to be stupid, Sun Jiaoyang's words were very obvious. He was telling Li Fan that he had already planned to leave City A. He was probably begging Li Fan to let him go. Mr. Sun, the game isn't played like this. Li Fan laughed. When you feel that you can win, you keep making moves. When you feel that you can't do it, you beg your opponent to let you go. Then, how do you think the game should be played, Brother Li? Of course, it's up to the person who made the rules to decide how to play. Li Fan looked at Sun Jiaoyang and reminded him, but Mr. Sun, have you forgotten that you're no longer the person who made the rules? You're just a failed player now. Brother Li, leave a way out for others in the future. Sun Jiaoyang said slowly, it's for my own good and also for your own good. Don't be too ruthless in doing things. Oh. Li Fan clapped his hands lightly. Do you remember this sentence now? When Mr. Sun sent someone to my school, he seemed to have forgotten this sentence. What should I do to calm Brother Li down? Sun Jiaoyang tapped his pipe lightly. I'm also getting old. I just want to live in peace. You want to live in peace? Don't we want to? Don't the students of second high school want to? Li Fan sneered. Mr. Sun, aren't you living a little too selfish? Every man for himself, and heaven and earth destroy him. Sun Jiaoyang asked, Brother Li, do you think there's any difference between you and me? Yes, just treat it as if there's no difference between us. Li Fan didn't want to reason with someone like Sun Jiaoyang. Since there's no difference, I should be like Mr. Sun and put my enemy to death. As Li Fan spoke, he slammed the glass into the table, leaving only the cup's mouth outside. Wang Baiqiang's heart was beating fast. Damn it! What kind of person is he? Is he a monster? Mr. Sun, have you thought of your last words? Li Fan asked. I'll fight it out with you. Wang Baiqiang jumped up and was knocked unconscious by Li Fan with a finger. Let my nephew go. Sun Jiaoyang slowly put down his pipe. I only have this one request. Li Fan looked at him again. Get out of city forever. What made you change your mind, brother? Sun Jiaoyang couldn't help but ask. It's nothing. I've always been a person who depends on my mood. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. However, I have a question for you. Go ahead. Sun Jiaoyang didn't dare to refuse since he was already here. If he dared to say no, his head would be removed. What's the relationship between you and Sam? Sam? Sun Jiaoyang frowned slightly. That notorious arms dealer? Yes, that's him. I don't have any friendship with him. He should have some contact with the top 100. However, I've reminded the top 100 not to have any contact with such a person. So you have contact with him? A little. Sun Jiaoyang nodded. This person is a famous arms dealer. His means are unacceptable. Compared to him, my means are really not worth mentioning. Don't praise him or yourself. Get to the point. Li Fan couldn't be bothered to listen to this. This person has some business dealings with us. Sun Jiaoyang said, however, this person seems to be very interested in your matters recently. Really? So the yellow uniform group provided him with my information, right? Should be. Sun Jiaoyang shrugged. We're enemies. It shouldn't be complicated for the top 100 to sell your information, right? Yes, it's not complicated. Tell me how to find Sam. Li Fan asked a question that was very important to him. I really can't help you with this. Sun Jiaoyang expressed his helplessness. Yomi. Sun Jiaoyang looked at his unconscious nephew. All right, I can help you lure him out. Arms deal. Sun Jiaoyang reminded Li Fan. He's a businessman and he has something special to sell recently. Chapter 5:15. A type of virus? Li Fan remembered that Sam had mentioned such a thing to him. It's not a virus anymore. Sun Jiaoyang said, it's said that it's been improved. It's now a drug called Devil. Devil? Angel? These two names were really interesting. Oh, you know about Angel? Sun Jiaoyang sized up Li Fan. I thought a high school student like you wouldn't know about this. I'm just a high school student and I've already defeated the yellow clothes group. Li Fan's words made Sun Jiaoyang's face burn. All right, perhaps you're not an ordinary high school student. Sun Jiaoyang coughed. Sam's experiment was successful. He developed a genetic drug that's cheaper than the Angel drug and it's more effective. However, it has strong side effects. Those who overuse it will lose their minds and become a real devil. Li Fan pondered for a moment. It seemed that Sam didn't get the gene from him and turned to other methods to research genetic drugs. Obviously, it wasn't very successful. That was why there was the so-called devil. He wants to sell his goods. Sun Jiaoyang reminded Li Fan. As long as you want to buy it, he'll appear. Can I trust you? Li Fan asked. My name is Sun Jiaoyang. Sun Jiaoyang pointed at his nose. I'm a legend in City A. Maybe I'm a jerk, but I always keep my word. Deal. Li Fan didn't want to waste time. He wouldn't be able to achieve anything great if he dilly-dallied. Then it's settled. I'll arrange for you to trade with him. Sun Jiaoyang said, when the time comes, I'll get you a new identity. An identity that won't make him suspicious. Do you still have the energy to do that? The Yellow Clothes Group is just one of my projects. Sun Jiaoyang smiled. Brother, have you heard of the saying that a cunning rabbit has 3 burrows? Deal. Li Fan patted Sun Jiaoyang's shoulder. This is your last chance. Believe me, even if you run to hell, I'll be able to catch you. All right. Sun Jiaoyang was indeed a big brother. He was very straightforward. Just this once. We have nothing to do with each other in the future. Deal. Li Fan was also very straightforward. He and Sun Jiaoyang made an agreement. After he left the plane, he couldn't help but ask, I don't have to pay for the cabin door, right? I bought insurance, Sun Jiaoyang said helplessly. That's good. Li Fan smiled. Otherwise, I won't be able to live with my conscience. After all, I'm very kind. For the first time, Sun Jiaoyang wanted to curse. When Li Fan walked out of the airport, a black Mercedes-Benz was parked there, blocking his way. The car door opened, and Lu Xinan sat inside. She waved at Li Fan, and Li Fan sat in the car obediently. Are you here to give me a ride? Li Fan looked at Lu Xinan with a smile, but the latter rolled her eyes. You bastard! Do you know what a stupid thing you've done? What's the matter, Miss Lu? What's the matter? You've almost turned the whole of City A upside down. Lu Xinan reminded Li Fan. Do you still remember the history of City A, the Yellow Suit Syndicate? Yellow Suit Syndicate? What's that? Li Fan blinked his eyes and began to pretend to be stupid. You can be smug all you want. Lu Xinan said angrily. Do you know how important the Yellow Suit Syndicate is in City A? Now that you've uprooted them, it won't have a good impact on City A. Isn't it better to uproot a tumor like the Yellow Suit Syndicate? Li Fan asked. I'm also a tumor. Are you going to uproot me as well? Lu Xinan raised an eyebrow. That'll depend on your performance, young lady. Li Fan winked at her. Go to hell. Lu Xinan pouted. The only effect of uprooting them is that there will be a group of people who don't care about their lives and have no moral integrity to come out and divide up the territories left behind by the Yellow Suit Syndicate. Then I'll clean them up one by one. Li Fan said, someone has to do something, don't they? Anyway, City A is really a mess now. Lu Xinan frowned. Look at the mess you've caused. Hey, miss, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. Li Fan lowered his voice. Moreover, it was the Yellow Suit Syndicate who provoked me first. In City A, I'll kill whoever provokes me. There's no room for negotiation. Li Fan, I know you're hot-tempered, but there are some things that you have to abide by the rules. Lu Xinan couldn't help but advise Li Fan, you've already alerted the Elders' Council by doing this. What the hell is the Elders' Council? Li Fan had never heard of this. Some big brothers in City A in the past. Lu Xinan took out a bottle of beer from the car fridge and passed it to Li Fan. After they retired, they still have a huge network of connections. Just like people like my father, they retired and couldn't stay idle, so they created this Elders' Council. The purpose of the Elders' Council is to maintain stability. That's so funny. Li Fan couldn't help but want to laugh. A group of gangsters came out to maintain stability? There are no gangsters now, Li Fan. Lu Xinan reminded him, even if we wander in the dark, we have our own rules. Usually, you can't see these people at all. But the power they have, even Yang ruining, and I have to be somewhat afraid. These people have their eyes on you. If you act recklessly, I really can't protect you. Why does Miss Lu want to protect me? Li Fan couldn't help laughing. It seems that I've been protecting you. Humph, we're just using each other. Lu Xinan said unhappily, if you fall, it won't do me any good. So, for the sake of both of us, you'd better stop for the time being. Don't fall into the hands of the Elders' Council. I'm a little curious about this Elders' Council. Can you please calm down? I'm begging you. Okay, I'll try not to make trouble. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Did you drive all the way here just to scold me? Of course not, I don't have the leisure to do that. Lu Xinan kept the last sentence in her heart. Although I really want to see you, I really want to see you. Although she really wanted to see him, she wouldn't say such words. The Elders' Council wants to see you. Lu Xinan said the matter. So I'm here to pick you up. You see, I'm a student, I still need to go to class. Li Fan spread out his hand. Tell your Elders' Council to wait for me after school. Hey, they won't wait at all. Lu Xinan was so angry that she had a headache. She kept rubbing her temples. My lord, please let me feel better. It's just to see a few people. What's wrong with that? This is a matter of principle. I'll invest 1 million in your company for free. Deal. Chapter 5:16. Li Fan happily reached an agreement with Lu Xinan. Lu Xinan drove him all the way back to the city center. It was raining in the spring, and the sky was already drizzling. This Mercedes-Benz 350 was driving slowly on the road. She was obviously a mafia boss, but she was very obedient to the traffic rules. The speed limit was 60, and the car was driving at 59. Didn't you say you're in a hurry? Why can't I see it? Li Fan looked at the slow car and couldn't help but ask. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Lu Xinan said very seriously. Yes, you leave the dirty work to your men. Will you die if you don't talk back? I'm just speaking the truth. Li Fan looked at Lu Xinan with a smile. My Miss Lu, is there no one around you who will speak the truth to you? You're annoying. Lu Xinan curled her lips, as if she didn't want to talk to Li Fan. This guy is so annoying every time. Talking to him was simply making life difficult for herself. The car slowly drove to the front of the Empire State Building and stopped. This Empire State Building was the tallest and largest building in City A. Those who could come here were either rich or respectable. They were all influential figures in City A. This was also the first time Li Fan came to this Empire State Building. He didn't expect that those retired mafia bosses would actually use this place as their base. This group of guys, they were living a good life. When you meet the elders, you must be careful what you say. Lu Xinan repeatedly reminded him, don't go against them, understand? Depends on my mood. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, and Lu Xinan immediately glared at him. Okay, I'll try to be calm. Li Fan agreed first, the rest of the matter will be discussed when they meet. Very good. Lu Xinan heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for maintaining this attitude. What are you thanking me for? Li Fan could not help but ask. As long as you don't make trouble, I'll thank you. Lu Xinan bowed to Li Fan. Why do you look like you're worshipping a deity? No, I'm paying respects to my ancestors. Lu Xinan seemed to be helpless against Li Fan, but there was nothing she could do about Li Fan, because Li Fan was special in her heart. Come on up. Remember, don't talk nonsense. Lu Xinan reminded Li Fan again. Li Fan rubbed his ears. Look, my ears are getting calluses. Conduct. Lu Xinan led Li Fan all the way to the 120th floor. The Empire State Building had a total of 120 floors. The top floor was different from the bottom. It was a very beautiful room, decorated with ancient style, richly ornamented beams and painted rafters, making Li Fan feel like he was in an ancient courtyard. And here, a group of old men sat around, the youngest of which was about 50 years old. The old ones had white hair. Li Fan felt that he might not even have sex. So, a white-haired old man in a Chinese tunic suit sat in the center. He crossed his hands and pressed his elbows on the table. Seeing Li Fan and Lu Xinan walk in, he looked like he saw two flies, his eyes showing a bit of disgust. And behind him stood a few black-suited bodyguards. Each of them was an elite. Li Fan felt a murderous aura from them. These people should be involved in murder cases. Not a single one of them was easy to deal with. And Li Fan felt his existence, in the eyes of that white-haired old man, was like an ant. There were a total of 8 people in the Elders' Council. These 8 people used to be famous big shots in City A. But that white-haired old man was obviously one of the best of them. He sat there, his aura was extremely strong. No matter who sat next to him, they seemed very small. You're young, but you're quite brave. The old man still had his hands crossed, his eyes not looking at Li Fan, not knowing if he was talking to him. Old man, are you talking about me? Li Fan asked. When I was young, I had a dog. The old man did not answer Li Fan, but continued, this dog looked very cute, yes. It met me on the road and wagged its tail at me. So, I took pity on it and brought it home. But, it was disobedient, very disobedient. The old man continued, it liked to pee in my house, liked to bite my things. I couldn't control it, this dog was too disobedient. So, I could only execute it. Are you using a dog to compare me? The old man's gaze finally fell on Li Fan. You're wrong, that dog is much cuter than you. Miss Lu, you heard that right? Li Fan laughed. It's not that I'm not giving you face. Lu Xinan became nervous. This Li Fan was a donkey with a temper. You could go along with him, but if you were to go against him, unimaginable. Wang Quan Fugue, this person was the chief elder of the Elders' Council. A legend like Sun Jiaoyang, compared to this old man, was not even worth mentioning. In City A, There were only 3 big groups: the Red Dragon Society, the Yellow Clothed Group, and the Vanguard Army. But in the whole of China, the most powerful gang was Dragon Hall. Many people in the underworld liked tattoos. But not everyone could get a dragon tattoo, only Dragon Hall could. This Dragon Hall had been the king of China for almost a century, and finally in the era of the crackdown, Dragon Hall began to change, from the underworld to a company. But even so, Dragon Hall's influence in China's underworld was still a heavyweight. Wang Quanfugue was one of Dragon Hall's cadres. That year, he brought a group of people, parachuted into City A, and wiped out all the underworld in City A. Later, Wang Quanfugue retired from the second line, and his 3 underlings began to come out, slowly making their mark, and became the 3 top figures in City A. So, even if Sun Jiaoyang came, he would have to respectfully toast Wang Quanfugue and call him Big Brother. "Old man, what's your name?" Just as Li Fan's voice fell, all the bodyguards in the hall pulled out their guns and aimed at Li Fan. A total of 10 bodyguards, 10 guns, all pointed at Li Fan. Lu Xinan was unprecedentedly nervous. "Please don't be like this." Lu Xinan wanted to stop all this, but Wang Quanfugue smiled. "Why, are you worried about your little boyfriend?" He said slowly, "Don't worry, I just want him to understand what rules are." "I'm not worried about him." Lu Xinan looked troubled. "I'm worried about you guys." When the old man heard that, he could not help but laugh. "Little girl, you used to be quite smart. Why have you become stupid now? You can't be like this. How are you going to help your father manage the Red Dragon Society?" With that, his gaze fell on Li Fan. "Little friend, you only have 2 choices now." Chapter 517. Little friend, you only have 2 choices. Wang Quanfugue looked at Li Fan and slowly stretched out 2 fingers, as if giving Li Fan an ultimatum. The first option, take your people and get out of a city forever. What about the second option? Die. The 10 bodyguards seemed ready to pull the trigger at any time. The story seems to be interesting. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. "Since you have so much confidence in me, why don't you let your gunmen shoot?" "You think I don't dare?" Wang Quanfugue laughed. "Believe me, the number of people I have killed in my life is more than the number of people you know." "Ah, so awesome." Li Fan gently clapped his hands. "I was so scared that I almost peed." "Looks like you don't believe me." Wang Quanfugue lightly knocked on the table. A bodyguard immediately lowered his gun and was about to shoot at Li Fan's leg. This shot was to teach him a lesson. The bodyguard pulled the trigger, but Li Fan directly reached out and grabbed the bullet in his hand. He pinched the bullet with his index finger and thumb, stared at the bullet, and said casually, "This little thing only costs a few cents to make, but it can take a life. In other words, a human life is only worth a few cents, right?" Li Fan's actions shocked Wang Quanfugue. "You are a martial artist?" After all, he was a person who had experienced all kinds of storms and waves. Regarding the title of martial artist, he knew a little. Old mister, you know quite a lot." Li Fan waved his hand and the bullet flew out, directly breaking the calf of the bodyguard who fired the gun. He groaned and kneeled on the ground. The remaining bodyguards did not wait for orders and immediately opened fire, wanting to turn Li Fan into a sieve. But Li Fan just sat there, and with a surge of true energy, he directly deflected the bullets. All the bullets returned to the original path and hit the bodyguards, knocking them down. "Sorry, if you want to deal with me, I'm afraid you have to change a few bodyguards." Li Fan told Wang Quanfugue, "These people are not professional enough. If you're a martial artist, then you shouldn't meddle in the affairs of the underworld." Wang Quanfugue clenched his fists. "You didn't even follow the rules of the House of Martial Fighters." "I'm a little headstrong." Li Fan said, "I don't really like to follow the rules set by others. Kid, I've seen many people like you in my life." After all, Wang Quanfugue had seen some of the world. Seeing his subordinates lying on the ground, other than feeling a little surprised, he didn't feel any fear. "If you continue to act so wantonly, someone will come and punish you. You seem to know a lot about us." Li Fan looked at Wang Quanfugue again. "But who will punish me? The embroidered uniform guard? Since you know, why don't you be smarter?" Wang Quanfugue warned Li Fan, I have some connections with one of the Imperial Secret Service's Qianhu. If you continue to cause a ruckus, I'm afraid it won't be long before you end up in the Imperial Secret Service's prison. Don't you like to threaten people? Li Fan suddenly asked. You've lived your whole life, killed a lot of people, killed a lot of masters, so you think you're special, right? That's why when you talk to anyone, you always have this arrogant tone. Why do you think you have one more dick than others? Trouble comes from the mouth. The veins on Wang Quanfugue's face jumped. Even if you can kill me now, I can guarantee that you won't live for more than 3 days. There will be countless people who want to kill you and send you to the underworld to accompany me. What you said is actually the main point. Li Fan stretched out a finger and shook it, but long before you, there were already a lot of people who wanted me dead. It's really an honor for a high school student to get so much attention. That means I'm really outstanding, right? Kid, don't be too arrogant. The arrogant one is not me, but you. Li Fan stood up and walked in front of Wang Quanfugue. What Elders Guild, what a joke. You guys, do you really think you're the guardian of this city? You're just protecting your own interests, a bunch of retards. Li Fan hated these kinds of people who acted high and mighty every day and came out to pretend to be pretentious. Let me tell you, don't mess with me. This time, it's just a warning. If there's a next time, what Elders Guild, I'll make it disappear. As Li Fan said that, he slammed his palm on the huge conference table. The 2-meter-long conference table directly broke into many pieces and fell to the ground. You challenged the authority. Wang Quanfugue didn't seem to want to let it go. This matter will not end here. Li Fan grabbed Wang Quanfugue's neck with one hand. Looks like there's nothing to discuss. After you go down, remember to find some wandering ghosts and let them avenge you. With that, Li Fan was about to break this old man's neck. Lu Xinan quickly pulled Li Fan. Li Fan, don't be impulsive. This person, you can't kill him. Young Lady Lu, and all the old men here. Li Fan lifted Wang Quanfugue into the air with one hand, then looked around. You probably think that I'm a high school student, or I'm a good person, right? No one uttered a word. Li Fan looked at Lu Xinan's eyes. Miss Lu, what do you think of me? A good person? Humph, if you're a good person, then there won't be any bad people in this world. Lu Xinan curled her lips but calmed herself down. But this person really can't be killed. If you kill him, you'll only make yourself more troublesome. There will be more and more people chasing after you, disturbing your life. She's right. Wang Quanfugue's face turned red, but he still angrily said to Li Fan, Now, put me down. I just need one of your arm, Kacha. Li Fan directly broke his neck and threw him to one side. Lu Xinan's eyebrows furrowed. She suddenly pulled out an exquisite small pistol from her latest LV bag and aimed it at all the elders. One shot at each of them, killing them all. Including those bodyguards, Lu Xinan did not hesitate and sent them all to meet God. This made Li Fan stunned. Fuck, what the hell, what's going on? You idiot. Lu Xinan put the pistol back into her bag. You think you're so cool? Bastard. Hurry up and leave, I'll clean up here. What about you? I'm fine, I'll find an excuse. Lu Xinan waved her hand. Don't worry about me, don't forget, I'm the head of the Red Dragon Society. Chapter 5:18. City A was in a terrible turmoil. The Elders Association, which had been secretly controlling the balance of City A, was turned upside down. In a single night, the entire Elder Council had been wiped out. 8 elders, including Wang Quanfugue, were all dead. Not only was City A shocked, but even the Dragon Hall was alarmed. Although Wang Quan had already retired, he was still a cadre of the Dragon Hall. However, Lu Xinan had carefully covered up the evidence and pushed this matter to some fugitives who couldn't be found at all. That was all she could do. Lu Xinan sat in a Western restaurant, holding a wine glass. After giving orders on her phone, she leaned back in her chair and let out a long sigh of relief. I'm so busy, she gently rubbed her temples. That despicable Li Fan. He caused me so much trouble. How much trouble? Can you tell me? A handsome man in a white suit walked in. He had a greasy face and was smiling at Lu Xinan. Lu Xinan immediately frowned, and the bodyguard behind her also pulled out his pistol. Who let you in? The person who came in was none other than the young master of the vanguard, Yang Ruining. Sorry, it's a special time. Yang Ruining waved his hand, and the other two bodyguards beside Lu Xinan suddenly turned their guns. One pointed at Lu Xinan's bodyguard, and the other pointed at Lu Xinan. So I'm temporarily requisitioning your people. Sorry. What do you want to do? Lu Xinan questioned. Are you crazy? Sorry, my former fiancé. Yang Ruining sat opposite Lu Xinan and asked the waiter beside him to pour him a glass of wine. Do you know what you're doing? Lu Xinan remained calm and looked at Yang Ruining. Of course I know, I'm helping you. Yang Ruining smiled. You should be thanking me. If it were someone else, they might have pulled out your tendons and bones. What do you mean? What do you mean? Miss Lu, you're carrying 8 important lives on your back. Yang Ruining, are you scaring me? Lu Xinan sneered. You want to blame the death of the Elders' Council on a weak woman like me? This little girl is truly impressed. No matter what, cooperate with our investigation first. What qualifications do you have to investigate me? Yes, I'm not qualified, but do you see this? Yang Ruining took out a token from his bosom and showed it to Lu Xinan. A dragon rune was engraved on the token. Dragon Hall Order. Lu Xinan was shocked. That's right. The people from the Dragon Hall are already here. They appointed me to investigate this matter. Yang Ruining chuckled and said, So, obediently accept my investigation. This is good for everyone. If it's really like what you said and you're innocent, I won't make things difficult for you since we're old friends. I want to see my father. Lu Xinan furrowed her brows. Sorry, uncle is now a guest of the Dragon Hall. Yang Ruining shrugged. I'm afraid I won't be able to see you for a while. Lu Xinan felt that something was wrong. The people from the Dragon Hall actually controlled her father. It seemed that they were determined to deal with her. Lu Xinan stretched out her hand and touched the phone on the table. But Yang Ruining stretched out his hand and put away Lu Xinan's phone. Who do you want to inform? Nan, I'm afraid you can't do it. Yang Ruining stuffed the phone into his pocket. Before the investigation is clear, I can only wrong you. Obediently stay in the place I arranged for you for a few days. Are you going to imprison me? Lu Xinan raised her eyebrows and asked. How could I have the guts to imprison Miss Lu? Yang Ruining kept a smile on his face. Someone, please take Miss Lu away. 2 burly men walked over and wanted to take Lu Xinan away. Stop right there. Lu Xinan stretched out her hand to stop the 2 of them. There's no need to be rough. I'll leave by myself. Lu Xinan stood up by herself, tidied her clothes, and followed the 2 burly men outside. When she passed by Yang Ruining, Lu Xinan deliberately said, Young Master Yang, let's see how long you can be smug. We're not enemies, why do you have to be like this? Yang Ruining took a sip of red wine. Your taste has been a little low recently. Humph, let's wait and see. Lu Xinan was taken away just like that. She was blindfolded, sent to an unknown room, and locked up. Lu Xinan took off the blindfold and looked at the luxurious room in front of her. The layout of the room was like a 6-star hotel. The surrounding windows were sealed, and the electronic ventilation fan on the wall was slowly turning. Inside the room stood 2 women. They were motionless as if they were statues. Lu Xinan knew that these 2 people were here to monitor her. They should be female bodyguards. Nan, look, we're fated to meet again so soon. Yang Ruining sat opposite Lu Xinan, playing with a gold-plated desert eagle in his hand. Look at this pistol, isn't it quite beautiful? Sometimes, these things don't look like murder weapons, but more like works of art. What exactly are you trying to say? Hurry up and say it, don't stutter. Some works of art can kill, right? Yang Ruining did not directly answer Lu Xinan's words. Sometimes, you look like a work of art. But this work of art of yours, when it's fierce, it's really too scary. You're talking in riddles? Sure. Lu Xinan laughed. Let's just play. Anyway, I'm bored here, so I'll play. Play? Yeah. Lu Xinan said generously, Anyway, you don't have any evidence, so you can't imprison me like this forever. Our Lu family has some connections in the Dragon Hall. In this limited time, the two of us should play well. Do you think I don't have any evidence? Yang Ruining laughed coldly. Nan, you've done such a big thing, how could you not have any flaws at all? I'm advising you now for your own good. Our two families have known each other for so long, and I also treat you as my own family. Oh, how touching. Lu Xinan also had a smile on her face. When she smiled, the two female bodyguards beside her were jealous. This woman was too beautiful. I never thought that the dignified young Master Yang would actually care so much about a woman. You don't have to mock me. I really care about you. I don't ask for you to understand, I just want you to be happy. Let me out and I'll be happy. I can't do that. Then let me make a call, okay? Call? Li Fan? Chapter 5:19. Yang Ruining ridiculed. My big miss, you really love this Li Fan. At this time, you're still thinking about him. You think too much. Lu Xinan maintained her calm. I just want to inform the people in the company. If the boss disappeared, I have to inform them. Otherwise, what if they think I ran away with the money? Don't worry, on the side of the Red Dragon Society, the people of Dragon Hall have already helped to arrange it. If Nan, you're really innocent, then naturally I'll let you go back and run your Red Dragon Society as usual. If you're found to be a traitor, I'm afraid even if I have the friendship in the past, I won't be able to save the big miss who has a change of heart. Yang Ruining, don't give me that. Lu Xinan wouldn't be afraid of Yang Ruining. If you have the ability, then go and investigate it. Anyway, I'm innocent, you won't be able to find anything. Nan, I like this confident look of yours. Yang Ruining gently clapped his hands. It's just that, sometimes you can't be too confident. Remember the 10 bodyguards of the Elder Council, one of them is a bit tough, he's currently in a coma. When he wakes up, everything will naturally be revealed. Are you trying to scare me? Lu Xinan didn't have the slightest change in expression. His life or death has nothing to do with this miss. Whether it has anything to do with him or not, it's not up to you, and it's not up to me. Yang Ruining slowly stood up. When he wakes up, he'll know everything. Okay, then you wait slowly. Lu Xinan expressed that it didn't matter. Then I won't talk to you anymore, just stay here. If you have any request, just mention it to your two maids. Okay, my request is for you to leave quickly. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes. The further the better, I'm annoyed to see you. I'll leave now. Yang Ruining didn't stay any longer, let's wait and see. Yang Ruining walked out of the room, while Lu Xinan sat in the room. She seemed to be a little careless, but she was a little anxious in her heart. If the bodyguard really woke up, he and Li Fan would be finished. However, she had no way of sending a message to Li Fan. Being locked up in this place, she had no way of contacting the outside world. What should I do now? Lu Xinan didn't know what to do for the first time. At the same time, Li Fan had just left school when he received a call from Ling Tian. Boss, I have a piece of news. Do you want to know? What news? Li Fan was driving Lin Yuhsin to the company. He held the handlebars with both hands and asked Lin Yun to hold the phone for him. News from Lu Xinan. Ling Tian went straight to the point. Li Fan furrowed his brows, not knowing what Ling Tian was talking about. Lu Xinan was the young mistress of the Red Dragon Group. What did her news have to do with him? The current Miss Lu is not the same as before. Ling Tian had his own unique source of information. She has been locked up by Yang Ruining. I'm afraid it won't be long before your partner disappears from City A. That's impossible. No matter what, she is the head of the Red Dragon Society. Li Fan felt a little incredulous. Moreover, her father has some power in City A. Would Yang Ruining dare to do anything to her? It said that she annihilated the Elders' Council of City A. This angered the largest underworld force in China, Dragon Hall. Ling Tian's words made Li Fan more and more frightened. Once they get the definite evidence, the people of Dragon Hall will do something to her. Li Fan felt his head buzz. He shouldn't have left Lu Xinan there. Do you know where she is locked up? This? Forgive me for my incompetence, Ling Tian sighed. Yang Ruining did a good job of keeping it a secret. My informants didn't find out her whereabouts. City A is only so big. I must find Lu Xinan. This matter had nothing to do with Lu Xinan, but she ended up getting involved. Li Fan definitely couldn't let her take the blame for him. He had to think of a way to save Lu Xinan. In the short term, they probably won't do anything to her. Ling Tian told Li Fan, otherwise they wouldn't lock her up. But our time is limited. I think we only have 2 or 3 days, got it? What about Yang Ruining? Where is he now? He's very smart. He hid his tracks. Ling Tian's answer made Li Fan's heart sink a little. Li Fan nodded. Wait for me at the company. I'll ask Little Fourth Eye to go over too. If he wanted to find Lu Xinan, he probably wouldn't be able to rely on his own strength. He had to get his brothers to go together. In such a short period of time, it was obviously too late to find Phoenix King. This Phoenix King was a maverick. If he wanted information from him, he had to come to him. Other than that, there was no other way to contact this fellow. Is there a problem? Lin Yuan was exceptionally smart. She had already heard some clues. Lu Xinan is under house arrest. Li Fan told the truth. She and I have some friendship. I can't watch her get killed. How could such a noble young lady be placed under house arrest? Lin Yuan was a little surprised, but she quickly asked, you don't know where she's being locked up, right? Yes, this is very important. Li Fan rode the bike, feeling a little heavy. If she dies, I'm afraid I won't be able to lift my head for the rest of my life. Okay, I'll help you. Lin Yuan patted Li Fan's shoulder. No matter what, don't forget that you still have US brothers by your side. You're obviously a girl. Why are you calling yourself a brother? That's what I mean. Don't exclude me this time, okay? Okay, count you in. Li Fan laughed. Anyway, this time it's not a crime, but a rescue. You can join in. You also know that sometimes you're committing a crime. Lin Yuan rolled her eyes. I thought you didn't know. My skin is a bit thick, but it's not to the point of being shameless. Li Fan said, hold me tight, I'm going to speed up. Lin Yuan tightly hugged Li Fan and stuck her face on his back. This gave Lin Yuan a sense of security. To be able to maintain this is the best. Lin Yi especially hoped that the two of them could continue riding like this, never stopping. But the better the ideal, the crueler the reality. Li Fan rode very fast. In less than 20 minutes, the two of them arrived at the small earthen building. The security guards were already at work. They stood at the bottom of the building, training with Guan Wenbao. Lu Chang and Lu Zhuang were also training with Guan Wenbao. The two of them were very good with the saber, but Guan Wenbao's training was obviously stricter than the others. The two of them were sweating profusely. Li Fan waved his hand. You guys continue, I'm going upstairs to bring the others for a meeting. Chapter 520. Li Fan sat on the boss's chair in his office that wasn't very big. A 10-square-meter space was crowded with a lot of people. Huang Lei could only squat in the corner and listen to the bustle. Ling Tian and Bai Lin Luo were discussing something. Both of them were Li Fan's inept advisors. At this moment, it was the time for them to give advice to Li Fan. But both of them were a little confused. To find a person in such a big city? It was like fishing for gold in the sea. City A isn't big, but it's not small either. It's indeed very difficult to find a person. Lin Yuan retracted her eyes from the computer screen and said, I've already checked some places in City A. I think since they want to lock up a rich missy and don't want to make things difficult, they definitely won't find some suburban basements or something. As the saying goes, great hermits hide in the city. They will definitely hide in the city, and it must be a very prosperous place. Yes, that's the point. Ling Tian and Bai Lin Luo also thought of this, but Yang Ruining's family has a big business. It's not easy to find a hotel. It's not enough to just be easy, it must also not arouse other people's suspicion. Lin Yuhsin showed a few hotels under Yang Ruining's name. These are the ones that are a little higher class and also under Yang Ruining's management. However, these few hotels are too ostentatious, and there are a lot of guests staying there. If they lock up a living person in there, I think they will find out in a few days. Ling Tian and Bai Lin Luo looked at each other. So I think there's only one place that is suitable to lock up the Lu family's Missy. Lin Yihan opened a picture. On it was the Empire State Building. Empire State Building? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. It's indeed possible. Damn, why didn't I think of it? Bai Lin Luo slapped his head hard, and Ling Tian also secretly pinched himself. Both of them were a little annoyed. Why didn't they think of this kind of thing? Don't blame yourselves. Lin Yuethan's IQ is higher than Einstein's. If she really wants to study something seriously, she's pretty good. After hearing Li Fan's explanation, the two of them became even sadder. However, we can't rule out the possibility of it being somewhere else. Ling Tian was a very conservative person. His way of thinking was very comprehensive, and he liked to leave a way out for himself. If we go in rashly, not only will we not be able to find Lin Yuetian, we will also alert the enemy. He said, we should think of a foolproof plan and contact Lu Xinan first. That makes sense. As Li Fan spoke, he stood up and his body began to change. Aberration Bone Swap allowed Li Fan to have the ability to change his form at any time. I'll participate in this plan. He changed his appearance so that he wouldn't be exposed. After all, he was now a well-known person in City A. Such an interesting thing, I want to participate in it too. Xia Ho was walking back from outside with her sword in hand. She liked to go out to practice swordsmanship every day. When she came back, she happened to be in time for Li Fan and the others' meeting. Forget about little senior sister. Li Fan quickly rejected Xia Ho's curiosity. This matter is more dangerous, and little senior sister doesn't have much social experience. It's easy to make mistakes. Little junior brother, you dislike me, Xia Ho pouted unhappily. Li Fan quickly comforted her. No, little senior sister is the best. She's the best. What about me? Lin Yihan was unhappy at the side. You're the smartest and the most considerate. You're all very important to me. Li Fan quickly added. Oh, they're both not bad, then I'm just a freeloader? Yin Xiaoru sat on the window at the side. The little girl was fiddling with a Rubik's Cube, but when she heard what Li Fan said, she immediately became unhappy. No. You're all very important to me. Look, I don't even know how to speak or do things. If it wasn't for the help of these sisters, how could I have gotten to where I am today? Looking at the girl's satisfied expressions, Li Fan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Damn it. This is too much. Sure enough, it was not a joke to say that 3 women were enough to put on a show. To be honest, I really want to help you, little junior brother. Xia Ho immediately explained, after I came here, I've only been eating and using what you give me, and I haven't been of any help, so I've been feeling guilty. Didn't you arrange for senior sister Xia and old Guan to go escort a while ago? You've paid me for escorting people? This is work, not friendship. Xia Ho said very seriously. Then I'll help you too. Yin Xiaoru also joined in the fun. With the help of this flying bandit, isn't it a piece of cake for you to find someone? Li Fan was a little confused. With so many women joining in the fun, how could he continue the show? Let me arrange it. At this time, it was Bai Lin Luo's turn. He pushed up his spectacles, and his brain started to work. It was as if many gears were running, pushing everything on the right track. I have an idea. When Bai Lin Luo thought about this, his brain turned very fast. Even Lin Yuetsen couldn't compare to him. It's about time. Listen to my arrangements. Bai Lin Luo began to assign tasks, and Li Fan and the others listened very seriously. Because of the urgency, they started the task the next day. To enter the Empire State Building, you must go through the security's identity verification. Ling Tian drove for Li Fan, and the two of them sat in a very ordinary black Camry, staring at the Empire State Building. Everything went according to Bai Lin Luo's plan, and the task of saving Lu Xinan continued. Because he didn't know which floor Lu Xinan was locked in, Bai Lin Luo planned to let Li Fan start from the inside. It's about time. Li Fan waited. Soon, a cleaner came out from inside, walked to a small square outside, and seemed to be smoking. It was time for lunch break, and these people came out to rest. Ling Tian spoke into the communicator and gave an order. Get ready. Okay. In Li Fan's vision, Xia Yi was wearing a clean cowboy outfit, and she walked towards the cleaner who was about 30 years old. Such a delicate and pretty girl immediately attracted the cleaner's attention. "Excuse me, sir, may I know which way to the technology building?" Xia Yi spoke with a bit of a foreign accent, and she acted very well. This was the first time Li Fan realized that Xia Yi did have a talent for acting. "It's just beside. How about this, I'll bring you there." During lunch break, the cleaner decided to bring Xia Yi to the technology building. For a little beauty like Xia Yi, most men would be willing to help her. "Okay, the fish has taken the bait." Ling Tian saw this scene and said. Chapter 521. You work in the Empire State Building? As Xia Yi walked, she curiously asked the cleaner. "I've seen it on a travel guide. The Empire State Building seems to be quite amazing." "Yeah, it's a landmark building in City A." The cleaner was willing to talk to Xia Yi more. This girl's voice was really gentle, making people feel comfortable. Unlike that woman in his house, who spoke like a cannon. "Then are you busy working in the Empire State Building? Do you have any pressure? I heard that there are always some supernatural things happening in big hotels. Did anything strange happen in your place?" Xia Yi brought out the curiosity of a little girl. The cleaner was not guarded against a little girl and casually said, "I'm definitely busy. The management of the Empire State Building is very strict. It's okay to have pressure, it's work, who doesn't have pressure?" The cleaner touched his chin and muttered, "Speaking of this strange thing, I didn't encounter it, but old Zheng complained to me yesterday. He said that he was in charge of the 108th floor, but for some reason, he wasn't allowed to go there anymore. Old Zheng thought that the building was going to fire him and he was scared. I really want to go in and take a look if I have the chance." Listening to the conversation between the two, Li Fan could not help but want to laugh. This cleaner's words were too easy to trick. Sure enough, Xia Yi was the best. Senior sister Xia was pretty and kind, giving people a sense of security. In the future, if he wanted to let down anyone's guard, he could just ask senior sister Xia to do it. "Little girl, this is the technology building. The cleaner sent Xia Yi to the place. Add me on WeChat. If you play here, I can be your tour guide or something." Xia Yi smiled sweetly and the cleaner's heart was about to fly. But the moment he lowered his head to pick up his phone, Xia Yi suddenly stepped to the side and hit him on the neck with a knife. The cleaner immediately fainted and was supported by Xia Yi. "It's done." Just as Xia Yi's voice fell, Guan Wenbao walked out from the corner, picked up the cleaner and brought him to an empty hut. The cleaner's clothes were taken off. At the same time, Yin Xiaoru, who participated in the operation, was ready. She took a mask and put it on the cleaner's face. Soon, the mask solidified, and Yin Xiaoru slowly took it off. Li Fan happened to walk into the small room and saw Yin Xiaoru taking off her facial mask. "Ah, I always thought that you directly tore off your face and used it as a human skin mask. You're disgusting." Yin Xiaoru rolled her eyes. "What are you talking about? I've never heard of it." She carefully held the mask and walked toward Li Fan. "This is my master's secret recipe. It fits perfectly with the skin and has no side effects. After all, girls' skin is very important." As she spoke, she carefully applied the facial mask on Li Fan. He didn't know if it was because Yin Xiaoru's hands were cold, or because the mask itself was very cold. Li Fan only felt that his face was cold, and it was a little comfortable. Done. After carefully touching Li Fan's face for a while, Yin Xiaoru clapped her hands in satisfaction. Xia Ho, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but clap her hands and exclaim, "Wow, it really looks like." There was a mirror next to him. Li Fan glanced at it. Sure enough, it was exactly the same as the previous cleaner. Good craftsmanship, worthy of being called Flying Cat. Li Fan couldn't help but praise, "I used to say that I was wrong, but now I can see that you do have some skills." "Humph, I don't need your praise." Although she said so, she seemed to be very happy. "Okay, everything goes according to plan." Li Fan clapped his hands. At the same time, his body swayed a few times, and the muscles on his body began to change again. In the blink of an eye, he became the same as the cleaner's body and height. Basically, in the eyes of outsiders, there was no difference. This is the identity card. Yin Xiaoru held the cleaner's identity card in her hand. They work at 1:20 in the afternoon. We still have some time, so we can plan again. The plan is in my heart, there's no need to repeat it. Li Fan said, if it really doesn't succeed, I'll force my way in. Junior brother, what Ling Tian means is, try not to alert the enemy. Xia Ho kindly reminded Li Fan, if the person isn't locked in the Empire State Building and alerted the enemy, it's very likely that we won't be able to find him again. I'll try to be careful. Li Fan put the identity card in his pocket and looked at the time. Xiaoru, 108th floor, remember to wait for me outside the window. I know you're so slow. Yin Xiaoru waved her hand. Okay, I'm going. Everything goes according to plan. Li Fan tidied up his clothes and walked out of the small house. He casually walked into the Empire State Building. When he passed through the security gate, he swiped his identity card. There was no problem with this identity card. Li Fan's current appearance was exactly the same as the cleaner. He safely passed through the security gate and entered the Empire State Building. Although he had been to the Empire State Building once, this place was too big. If it wasn't for Ling Tian's guidance through the earpiece, he would easily get lost. At this time, Li Fan wore a pair of contact lenses. These contact lenses were connected to Ling Tian's computer through a wireless transmitter. He could see everything that Li Fan saw on the screen. Go up from the right, there's a staff elevator. Ling Tian instructed Li Fan through the earpiece. You can go in with your identity card, but your identity card can only go up to the 70th floor. Li Fan didn't say a word. He silently swiped his card and entered the staff elevator. Li Fan behaved very naturally. He couldn't let his identity reveal the slightest flaw. Even if it was to save Lu Xinan, Li Fan didn't want to implicate an ordinary person and cause him to lose his job. He went up to the 70th floor in one breath, then continued to follow Ling Tian's instructions and walked into the storeroom. Here, Li Fan took off all his clothes. This cleaner's authority was only up to the 70th floor. If he went any higher, he would be a burden and wouldn't be of any use. He only used the cleaner's identity to enter the Empire State Building. There were cameras everywhere in the Empire State Building, but this wasn't a problem for Li Fan. Before he came out, he had already made a secret signal. Okay, leave it to me. Ling Tian gave the order. Huang Lei, who was wearing a cotton coat, was already standing on the side of the electric switch. He held the device that Ling Tian gave him and directly stuck it on the electric box. This was a high-tech device that Ling Tian brought back from overseas. After sticking it on, it would produce a special signal that would disable the power supply for 10 minutes. The Empire State Building had a power outage, but this kind of place had a complete backup power supply. After 2 minutes, the backup power supply will be activated. Ling Tian told Li Fan, you only have 2 minutes. That's enough. Li Fan walked out of the utility room. He changed his appearance and changed his appearance. At the same time, he threw the cleaner's clothes and ID card out of the window. Chapter 522. With Yin Xiaoru's help outside, these things had to be returned to their rightful owners. At the same time, Li Fan continued to move. He moved like a rabbit, his whole body as fast as lightning, leaving a black afterimage, and directly plunged into the stairwell. For an expert, 2 minutes could do a lot of things. And Li Fan only used 30 seconds to climb more than 30 floors, reaching the 108th floor. As he expected, the door of the stairwell was locked. Li Fan lightly shook open the door lock with his palm and rushed into the 108th floor. At intervals in the corridor, there was a bodyguard in a black suit standing. Obviously, this place was under martial law. But this was also within Li Fan's calculations. He quickly turned into a shadow and quickly flashed through the corridor. Every time he passed by a person, Li Fan's crane tap would fall on their acupuncture points, making them temporarily unconscious. At the same time, Li Fan's true qi remained in their bodies, locking their meridians, so that even if they fainted, they would still stand in the same place, unable to move. When they woke up, they wouldn't notice anything unusual. And Li Fan controlled the time. Each person would probably be unconscious for about 2 to 3 minutes. This was Li Fan's 7 Brilliance fist, used on ordinary people because he had no other choice. Time was very tight. Li Fan took care of all the bodyguards in 30 seconds, and then began to search the rooms here one by one. When he pushed open the 10th room, Li Fan finally saw Lu Xinan. This girl was lazily sitting on the sofa, facing the big TV in front of her, playing a PS4. And 2 female bodyguards were standing next to her, and Li Fan's moves were as fast as lightning, and with 2 crane tap, they also fell into a short sleep. Looks like you're having fun. Although time was tight, Li Fan still couldn't help but tease Lu Xinan. Lu Xinan saw Li Fan, but not at all surprised. Among the 10 bodyguards last time, 1 is still alive. Find him and kill him, Lu Xinan said while playing with her PS4. Not coming with me? Li Fan frowned. I have a big family and a big business. I can't run away. We have to work together to bring down Yang Ruining and bring down that damn Dragon Hall. Lu Xinan's eyes shone with ambition. Li Fan, do you trust me? I trust you. Wait for my news. The 2 of them only had a short conversation, which took less than 10 seconds. Li Fan immediately left the room and closed the door. He returned to the next floor and jumped out of the lower window. The sky outside was a few hundred meters high, but it was nothing to Li Fan. He stuck close to the building and fell quickly. He quickly descended and landed on the ground in the blink of an eye. The moment he landed on the ground, Li Fan launched his innate qi, bounced on the ground and immediately leaned upwards, turned around in the air, and then lightly landed on the ground. Li Fan's qigong was extraordinary. Really good qigong, but it's still a little worse than me. Yin Xiaoru landed beside Li Fan. Learn more from me in the future. Learn more. Then who? Yin Xiaoru looked around and didn't see Lu Xinan. There's a change of plan. We won't bring her out. Ah. After returning, Li Fan told her what happened. Although his change of plan made Yin Xiaoru unhappy, it got Ling Tian's support. Lu Xinan did the right thing. If we rashly rescued her, it would confirm the fact that she killed the elders. So, we're going to kill his bodyguard? Li Fan asked. There's no need to kill him. It's too dangerous. Ling Tian hurriedly said, I have a drug that can make him unconscious for half a year after injection. As long as we make this bodyguard unconscious for a period of time, Miss Lu's matter will naturally be over. Even the Dragon Hall can't force Lu Shanlong's daughter to be locked up for so long. No matter what, Lu Shanlong was a military big shot. No matter how excessive Dragon Hall was, they still had to give the military some face. If we kill this bodyguard, it may expose the matter. Ling Tian reminded Li Fan. Okay, but where to lock up this bodyguard? I have to think about it. Li Fan sat in the office and felt a headache. At this moment, a subordinate sent up a package. Boss, there's a package for you. Package? Li Fan was a little surprised. He never bought anything online. Wait a minute. Ling Tian took out a special instrument and tested it. Well, it's not a bomb. Damn, you're too timid. Huang Lei couldn't help but complain while chatting on WeChat. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially at this moment, Ling Tian said as he opened the box. There was a heavy brick inside the box. But there was a piece of paper under the brick. Ling Tian pulled it out and there was only an address written on it. It's the address of a hospital. Ling Tian handed the box to Li Fan. It's Red Cross Hospital Inpatient Department, Ward A, Area 303. It's the address of the bodyguard. Li Fan fell into deep thought. Who would send it? Did the courier say anything? The subordinate nodded and hurriedly replied. He said, Good son-in-law, I'll leave it to you. Li Fan was silent for a long time. Lu Shanlong gave it to me? He's also under control, but it's not impossible for him to know the address of the bodyguard. Ling Tian analyzed for a moment. However, whether or not he was the one who sent this piece of paper is rather suspicious. What's there to be afraid of? We'll know once we take a look. Huang Lei also looked at the note and said casually. Li Fan was glad that the devil incarnate, Wang Tofu, was not here. He went out to smuggle. If he was here with Huang Lei, things would probably get worse. No matter what, we have to give it a try. Li Fan looked at the address of the hospital. Even if they suspect us, as long as they don't kill the bodyguard, there won't be a problem. According to Ling Tian's plan, we won't lose anything. Then we have to do it secretly. Ling Tian thought for a while. Leave this mission to me. Ah, can you do it? Don't worry, don't forget that I'm a doctor. Ling Tian smiled confidently. Leave it to me, I promise to give you a satisfactory answer. But I'll leave everything to you. Well, this time it's just you and me. Lei, go to help drive. No problem. When Huang Lei spoke, his eyes never left his phone. Obviously, he was in a heated conversation with someone. Then it's settled. Li Fan made the decision and this matter was settled. Chapter 523. The Red Cross Hospital is not a particularly good hospital in a city, and its scale is not large. The reason why Yang Ruining arranged the bodyguards here is probably to avoid people's eyes and ears. Li Fan and Huang Lei are both sitting in the van outside, waiting for Ling Tian to come back. Looking at Huang Lei's perverted smile from time to time, Li Fan finally can't help but ridicule. Lei, what are you laughing at? I'm chatting, big brother. Huang Lei doesn't even raise his head, seemingly very focused on chatting. You're not in love, right? Li Fan can't help but ask. I can't hide anything from big brother. Huang Lei chuckles. I recently met a chick, don't say how beautiful she is. Boss, do you want to see her photo? Forget it. Li Fan hurriedly waves his hand, thinking of Huang Lei's aesthetics. Li Fan feels that it's better not to look. Big brother, you have to believe in my taste. I believe in your taste too much, that's why I don't look. Li Fan feels a chill just thinking about it, it's better not to look. Ba. Really, I really like this chick. Huang Lei emphasizes, she meets all the requirements of a goddess in my heart. I've decided I won't marry anyone but her. Then you treat her well. Li Fan is very speechless, he can only order Huang Lei like this. Don't worry, big brother, I will definitely treat her well. Brother Huang has a face of happiness. You must make her happy. I don't know if she's happy or not, but I know that your big dick will definitely make her happy. Big brother, don't joke with me. Huang Lei touches the back of his head. I'm also lucky to meet her. I've already decided to change some of my bad habits. What the Li Fan is shocked. What kind of ability does this woman have to be able to make Huang Lei this ruffian change? That was unbelievable. Li Fan was still in shock when the car door opened. Ling Tian walked in and took off his white coat. Done. He said, the drug has been injected. No one suspects me. Ling Tian made an okay gesture to Li Fan. Within half a year, this bodyguard won't be able to wake up. After Lu Xinan recovers her strength, we can secretly control this bodyguard. Alright, we're done here. Let's go. Li Fan clapped his hands, and Huang Lei reluctantly put his phone aside and started the car. The car drove a little fast. Obviously, Huang Lei wanted to go back quickly and communicate with his new girlfriend. When he heard the urgent message, he subconsciously slowed down the car and reached for his phone. Drive properly. Ling Tian immediately reprimanded, you don't want your life anymore. The boss is sitting in the back. Do you want to send the boss to hell? Among them, other than Li Fan, the only one who could persuade Huang Lei was Ling Tian. With one sentence, Huang Lei became well-behaved and drove obediently. There was basically no nightlife in a city at night. Because of the cold weather, many places would wrap up early at 8 or 9 o'clock. The main road was very wide, and there were basically no cars. This silver van moved forward under the cover of the night, running very smoothly. Li Fan leaned on the seat and began to adjust his breath. He looked at the true qi in his body, watching as it quietly circulated, flowed, multiplied, and grew stronger. But if this went on, Li Fan would not make any progress. His 7 heroes force had been stuck at the 6th stage, and he did not know when he would be able to break through the 7th acupoint and enter the 7th stage. Because he had only practiced 1 chapter of Star Luo power, he only had the strength of the 1st stage. If he wanted to improve, he should practice the 2nd chapter. But Star Luo power was too strange, and it was vaguely related to vitality. Should he continue to cultivate it? Li Fan fell into deep thought. Li Fan felt that there were still many things he did not understand about practicing martial arts. This path was full of mysteries and unknowns, and it deeply attracted Li Fan to go forward. Just as Li Fan was thinking about this problem, his eyebrows suddenly trembled, and he suddenly opened his eyes. Bang! A figure appeared in front of the van, stretched out his hands, and directly stopped the van that was moving. He was wearing a suit of armor that glowed with a metallic luster. He stretched out his hands and pressed on the front of the van. A huge dent was left on the front of the van. Huang Lei and Ling Tian were shocked. Who is this person? Motherfucker, I'll kill you. Huang Lei stepped on the accelerator all the way, and almost stepped into the gas tank. The van suddenly roared, and the tires of the van started to spin crazily like an awakened beast. But the person in front of him laughed, and slowly lifted the front of the van. Although this van's horsepower was not high, it was not something that a person could stop. But this guy in front of him, relying on his armor, was actually able to forcefully resist this van. Motherfucker, who is this guy? Huang Lei panicked. If this goes on, the van will be blown away. Ling Tian directly took out his Colt pistol, aimed at the man in the armor, and fired repeatedly. Bang bang bang. The sound of gunfire pierced the silence in the night, but the man's armor blocked all the bullets. At this time, Li Fan stood up and took a step forward. Bang! The van broke free from the man's hand and fell heavily, smashing on the ground and raising a cloud of dust. Li Fan broke the car's windshield and kicked the man in the armor. The man in front of him was directly kicked by Li Fan, and he slid in the air for more than 5 meters and then steadily landed on the ground. Oh, you still have so much strength. Warhammer patted the dust on his body. This mech is quite expensive, don't break it for me. You destroyed my car. Li Fan glanced at his wrecked front of the car and couldn't help but get angry. This store mercenary is really like a dog skin plaster, so clingy. Isn't it just a van? You're China's big brand, Wuling Hongguang, right? Warhammer laughed. Relax, if you die, I will burn the money for this van for you. Oh, so confident this time? Did you take the new drug again? Li Fan mocked. Hey, it's true. Warhammer laughed. This time I injected Angel 2, and my body feels unprecedentedly good. He moved his body. This time I guarantee you will be satisfied. With that, Warhammer pulled out a special shotgun and aimed at Li Fan. Bang! Just as Warhammer fired a shot, Li Fan had already raised his gun, and the bullet flew high into the sky. Even if you eat Angel 250, you still can't win against me. Is that so? Warhammer laughed, and Li Fan felt a chill behind his back. He quickly turned around and grabbed a bullet, holding it in his hand. Chapter 524. Catching a bullet with bare hands, awesome. Warhammer could not help but clap his hands. Not bad, little friend. Who is a little friend? Li Fan pinched the bullet and looked at the Warhammer in front of him. All right, you've set up a sniper to ambush me. Sniper? No. Warhammer laughed and said, this is the drone that I am equipped with. It is even more useful than a sniper. How is it? Isn't it very cool? Drone. This gave Li Fan a headache. This thing should be able to move freely in the air. It would be difficult for him to find it. Be careful, bullets don't have eyes, but I do. Warhammer pointed at his eyes. Tonight, I am afraid you will be lying in front of me. Don't speak so disgustingly. If you have the appetite, I will introduce you to a handsome guy. Okay, if you can survive. Warhammer said and raised his shotgun, aiming at Li Fan. However, the moment the opponent raised his spear, Li Fan had already struck out with his palm. 7 Brilliance Fist. Beating Tiger. Li Fan's palm directly sent Warhammer's body flying. Warhammer's mech emitted air pressure, stabilizing his body and returning to the ground. But Li Fan chased after him and was already in front of him. At the same time, he sent out another palm. The bullet from the sniper rifle also arrived. Li Fan immediately turned around and caught the bullet. Damn it, the harassment from the drones was too annoying. It seems like it is really difficult to win against you with bullets. Warhammer said helplessly, These strange Chinese martial arts really make people feel fucked up. I also feel that you are very annoying. Li Fan snorted coldly, and Warhammer took out 2 metal knives from his body and held them in his hands. A strong air pressure ejected from behind him, pushing Warhammer's body, quickly sending him in front of Li Fan. 2 metal blades with the power of electricity on them. Li Fan snorted coldly, a huge blue and white figure ejected from behind him. Toad transformation. The 3-meter-tall man slammed his palm down. The black bear slammed the door. This slap sent Warhammer tumbling to the ground. His body smashed a deep pit in the ground. Fuck! Warhammer ordered the drones to attack Li Fan while he climbed up from the ground. What the hell is this? Warhammer looked at the figure floating behind Li Fan in confusion. He was a little confused. How can you understand the true chi of Huaxia? Li Fan said, you want to rely on some genetic medicine to defeat me? Nice try. As he spoke, the figure behind Li Fan struck the Warhammer in front of him with his palm. Bear King Seal. Bang. A palm print appeared on Warhammer's chest. His body was sent flying again, sliding on the ground for some distance. Finally, he stabbed the 2 metal knives into the ground and stabilized himself. However, Li Fan's figure had caught up to him. Rushing thunder kick. Li Fan vigorously whipped his leg and swept Warhammer's neck. Bang! If not for Warhammer's helmet, his head would have been removed. Even so, his body still flew out horizontally and crashed heavily into a street lamp in the distance. The street lamp was directly bent. Warhammer's body was pressed on it. He lifted his helmet and sneered. Ayaya. I really miscalculated. You are really powerful, he sighed a few times. It seems that if I want to win against you, I need something special. With that, Warhammer took out a small syringe and pierced it into his neck. Damn, what is that? It can't be a demon, right? Li Fan frowned. Bullshit, that demon thing has such a huge side effect. This daddy doesn't need it. Warhammer shouted, this thing is called Angel 3, it is the latest generation of Angel product. Hehe, our Storm has the most high-end genetic laboratory. Our research on these things is at the forefront. That guy named Sam wants to compete with us. What a joke. With that, Warhammer shook his neck and slowly stood up from the street lamp. He stretched out his hand and directly grabbed the huge street lamp, using it as a stick or similar weapon, sweeping it horizontally toward Li Fan. Such great strength. Li Fan couldn't help but exclaim while retreating, this drug is really too much. Too much is yet to come. With that, Warhammer grabbed the street lamp with both hands and unceasingly swung it toward Li Fan, repeatedly trying to smash Li Fan into meat paste. However, Li Fan's body left afterimages every time, causing Warhammer to repeatedly miss. Quickly let me rest. With that, Warhammer waved his hand and threw the street lamp toward Li Fan. Li Fan stood still with his arms crossed. The figure behind him directly raised his palm and hit the street lamp. Bang! The street lamp paused and then exploded into pieces. Take this. Warhammer suddenly fell from the sky and 2 metal blades chopped down toward Li Fan. Li Fan crossed his arms and did not move. The figure behind him was like a god of war. Ape King Cannon directly hit Warhammer's body. Bang! Warhammer's body flew out like a cannonball. However, Warhammer's body released air pressure in the air and stabilized his body. At the same time, he once again fell toward Li Fan. This time, Warhammer combined the 2 metal blades together and emitted a crimson light. Clearly, the charging attribute changed to heating attribute. Li Fan can already feel that the energy on the metal blades is definitely not ordinary. This Warhammer still has some skill. However, he only raised his hand and lightly touched his chin. High heat, although it is harmful to him, it has no effect on true chi. Facing the falling Warhammer, the war god behind Li Fan directly used Dragon Shattering Hand and hit the metal blade. Gotcha! This metal blade directly broke into several pieces and was destroyed by the war god's Dragon Shattering Hand. Even if you eat number 3, it seems like you still can't beat me. Li Fan said. War God waved his hand and pinched a bullet with 2 fingers. However, The drone turned into a machine gun mode and kept shooting bullets at Li Fan. War God's arms kept waving, leaving afterimages as he caught all the bullets in his hand. Fuck? What is this? This is a guardian. Warhammer wanted to curse. This Li Fan, what exactly is his background? China's kung fu is too strange. True Qi is ever-changing and has limitless uses. You little southern barbarian, how can you understand the profoundness of it? Li Fan sneered, what storm? In China, it can only blow a small wind. Fine, you are awesome. Warhammer opened his hands. Seems like if I don't play with you for real today, you brat will be arrogant endlessly. Chapter 525. Warhammer stood there with his arms wide open. At this time, a huge drone flew over from the sky. The drone stopped above Warhammer's head and at the same time, dropped a large pile of metal materials onto Warhammer. These metal materials landed on Warhammer's body and combined with his armor. Soon, Warhammer was like a huge pedestal armor, with two giant cannons placed in front of him, aimed at Li Fan in front of him. Bang, bang, bang. The huge cannons started firing, and the cannons kept bombarding Li Fan. But Li Fan still crossed his arms, letting the opponent's cannons roar unceasingly. The war god behind him used Crane Hand, knocking away the cannons in front of him again and again. The war god formed by the toad was almost invincible. To defeat the war god, one must have the same level of true Qi to do so. To Li Fan, although the warhammer in front of him was very powerful, it was not a threat to him. After attacking for a long time without success, Warhammer seemed to be a little anxious. Even his pedestal armor could not do anything to Li Fan. What was the war god behind that Chinese? This thing did not make sense. Warhammer assembled his own cannons, and the two cannons merged together, aimed at Li Fan opposite him. This time, Warhammer wanted to blast Li Fan into pieces. This was an electromagnetic cannon. Warhammer's mech extended many tentacles, inserted into the ground, and began to extract the surrounding electricity. The surrounding streetlights dimmed and flickered nonstop. Li Fan had the lightning deer's power, so he could vaguely feel the flow of electricity. At this moment, the electricity was quickly gathering on Warhammer's mech, and then condensing on the 2-in-1 cannon in front of him. Under such an attack, even an army would be turned into dust in an instant. But he was not facing anyone else but Li Fan. Li Fan crossed his arms and stood there, motionless. The war god behind him spread out his hands, and the true Qi on his palms began to fluctuate. War god, golden toad spitting pearl. Go to hell! Warhammer fired the electromagnetic cannon. The blue electric light streaked across the night sky like a bolt of lightning. It quickly arrived before Li Fan as if it wanted to tear him into dust. However, the war god behind Li Fan also moved. His hands pushed out two balls of Qi at the same time. He sent them in front of him, condensed them together, and shot them towards the warhammer. Boom! Under the night sky, a dazzling explosion ignited, and Li Fan's figure was forcibly pushed more than 3 meters away. Warhammer, on the other hand, was in an even worse state. The powerful explosion had shattered his pedestal armor, and his body kept tumbling in the air before finally smashing into the ground, creating a deep pit and a ravine. Fuck! Warhammer lay in the deep pit, unable to get up for a long time. The system notified him that his damage rate had reached 80%. Goodbye. Li Fan's war god retracted one hand behind his back, preparing to use the Ursa Major seal to send Warhammer to the afterlife. However, at this time, the huge drone stopped above Warhammer's head. It released some kind of magnetic force, directly pulling Warhammer's body up and sucking him into the cabin of the drone. The drone spat out blue and white flames, and the engine turned, seemingly wanting to leave this place. Bye-bye. Warhammer, who was sucked into the drone, waved his hand at Li Fan. Where are you going? Li Fan frowned, and the war god immediately began to dissipate, quickly condensing into a pair of blue and white wings. With a fierce flap, Li Fan's body actually flew high into the sky. 7 Brilliance Fist, Toad Transformation. True Qi was ever-changing, and Li Fan was now using his own true qi flexibly. Although the effect was far inferior to Murong Ying's materialization, it was superior in that it was ever-changing and had endless wondrous uses. With the flap of this pair of true qi wings, Li Fan leaped into the sky, and in the blink of an eye, he was already close to Warhammer. Fuck. Warhammer had a feeling of wanting to pee. This was too fucking inconceivable. He immediately stretched out his hands and combined them together, forming a small electromagnetic cannon. Warhammer absorbed energy from the drone and aimed it at Li Fan, who was already in front of him, and fired. Bang! The electromagnetic cannon fired, and the electromagnetic wave impacted Li Fan's body, pushing him back to the ground. Li Fan landed on the ground, and with a flap of his wings, he slowly dissipated. To maintain the toad transformation, he needed to consume a large amount of true qi. At this time, Li Fan's true qi was almost depleted. If he wanted to use the toad transformation again, he would need to rest for an hour and properly recuperate his true qi. Looking at Li Fan standing there, Warhammer secretly heaved a sigh of relief. This guy is too scary. It seemed that if he wanted to defeat him, he would need an even better gene agent. I actually let him escape. Li Fan stood on the ground, looking at the fleeing drone. However, there will be no next time. Is it another storm? Ling Tian awkwardly kicked open the car door and walked down. How did they know we were here? Isn't this operation very confidential? I am also not sure, but it is obvious that the other party is not some kind of fortune teller. Li Fan was also suspicious of this matter, while Huang Lei awkwardly climbed down, feeling like crying. Fuck, I was still waiting to have sex with a girl? Isn't this ruining my good time? Alright, hurry up and take a taxi. Li Fan said that this guy was already obsessed with lust. He waved his hand, telling Huang Lei to hurry up and do his own things. Thank you, big brother. Later, I will let you be the godfather of my child. Huang Lei happily hailed a taxi from the side and left. While Ling Tian arranged for someone to drive the van away, he worriedly said to Li Fan, "This girlfriend of Lei seems to be worth investigating." Li Fan understood what Ling Tian meant. You suspect that there is something wrong with Lei's girlfriend. I am used to being cautious, subconsciously suspecting. Ling Tian lowered his voice and said, I saw Lei open a real-time location sharing on WeChat. Of course, I will not suspect Lei. He is undoubtedly loyal to you. But his woman? How about this? You investigate in secret first. Li Fan, on the other hand, was steady. Let's get to the bottom of this. Don't let Lazy suffer. All right. Ling Tian nodded, then leave this matter to me. Also, don't worry about Lu Xinan, just wait for the news. I will arrange for someone to monitor the vicinity of the Empire State Building. Once there is any movement, I will immediately inform you. All right. Li Fan patted Ling Tian's shoulder. With you by my side, there is a lot less trouble. I am a person who chooses a good tree to live in. Ling Tian was very calm. Being by your side, I can obtain more benefits. And I will not mistreat my brother. Li Fan was gratified. Taking Ling Tian by his side was really a big bargain. Chapter 526. After Ling Tian dealt with the bodyguards, in less than 3 days, Lu Xinan was released. She walked out of the Empire State Building and took a deep breath of the outside air. This is the first time she felt that the sun is so bright and the air is so fresh. Even if there is a bit of haze, Lu Xinan doesn't care. Nanan, don't forget, Long Tang's eyes have been staring at you. Yang Ruining stood at the entrance of the Empire State Building with 2 bodyguards behind him. His gaze was deep as he looked at Lu Xinan. He pointed at his own eyes and exhorted her in a concerned tone. Thank you for your concern, young Master Yang, but I can live quite well. You don't have to worry about me. Lu Xinan thought that she finally got rid of this idiot. Nen, you tell me, how sad is this? Yang Ruining nagged. Look, you were released, but the Red Dragon Society didn't even send anyone to pick you up. Sigh, it seems that you don't have much status in the Red Dragon Society. Why you like an old woman so talkative? Lu Xinan frowned and looked at Yang Ruining unhappily. I'm just worried about you. I don't need your concern, you big idiot. Lu Xinan is already too lazy to feign civility with this guy, so she directly gave him a middle finger. Yang Ruining was not angry, he chuckled. Nan Nan, I understand that you have a bad temper. However, you should also consider your own position. Think about it, after being locked up here for several days, can the Red Dragon Society still be of use to you? None of your business. Lu Xinan dropped this sentence and turned to leave. A black Audi A4 stopped in front of Lu Xinan, the door opened, and Li Fan got out of the car. Big miss, please get in the car. Okay. Lu Xinan got into the car. When Li Fan saw Yang Ruining standing there, he was a little surprised and took 2 steps forward. Yang Ruining subconsciously took 2 steps back and hid behind the 2 bodyguards. Young Master Yang, why are you retreating? Let's have a good chat. We haven't seen each other for so long. Come, let's catch up. The corners of Yang Ruining's mouth twitched. Who the hell wants to catch up with you? That's boring. As the young master of the vanguard, how can he be so timid? Li Fan laughed. I want to catch up with you, not compete with you. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid. Yang Ruining laughed dryly. I've caught a cold recently. I'm afraid I'll pass it on to you. Aya, young Master Yang is really a good person. Li Fan seemed to be very appreciative of Yang Ruining. Are all good people like you? You should give young Master Yang a Lei Feng award or something. You deserve it, you deserve it. Li Fan, cut the crap. What's your relationship with this matter? Yang Ruining's eyes flashed. Could it be that you and Nanan joined hands to get rid of the Elder Council? What's the Elder Council? What are you talking about? Li Fan looked at Yang Ruining puzzledly. What Elder Council? Is it an online game? Hee, my brother's ability to act dumb is getting better. Hey. Is it your ability to tell lies getting better? Li Fan curled his lips. In this world, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. I hate it the most when people pour dirty water on me. If you speak nonsense, I'll beat you up. Beating people means you have a guilty conscience. Beating people means you need a beating. Li Fan took another step forward, scaring Yang Ruining into taking another meter back. Yang Ruining, if you dare to speak nonsense again, be careful of your teeth. Li Fan laughed coldly. Yang Ruining did not dare to utter a word. Although this Li Fan does not have any background, he has a set of skills that can shock the heavens and make the gods weep. Li Fan, stop talking to a retard. Let's go. There are still a lot of things that we need to do. Lu Xinan said in the car. Our family's big missy has instructed. Consider yourself lucky that your life was spared. Li Fan chuckled. Yang Ruining did not dare to say a word as he clenched his teeth and glared at Li Fan. Sun Qingchen got off the car and opened the door for Li Fan. The 2 bodyguards glared like tigers, seemingly wanting to take revenge for their master as they took a step forward. While Sun Qingchen just stood there, looking at the 2 of them expressionlessly. The 2 bodyguards are experts in their respective fields and are very experienced. When they saw the murderous aura on Sun Qingchen, they knew that he was definitely not an ordinary person. This Li Fan, he is just a small driver and he actually has such strength. Let them go. Yang Ruining was not stupid. He knew that it would not be beneficial for him to go against Li Fan and the others. He could only play dirty with Li Fan. At this moment, Li Fan was already in the car and left with Lu Xinan. Big Missy Lu, it was not easy for you to be released from prison. Why are you still frowning? This is my first time sitting in such a broken car. This is an Audi A4. At this time, don't play with your big missy temper, okay? Li Fan looked at Lu Xinan, who had a sour face and could not help but tease her. I'm afraid that Yang Ruining has already taken advantage of the time when my father and I are not around to tear my Red Dragon Society apart. Lu Xinan sat at the back with a displeased expression. It's okay, let's think of a way together. Li Fan looked out of the window. The yellow-clothed group has already been uprooted. It's time to move the vanguard. Moving the vanguard is not enough. Lu Xinan was quite ambitious and directly asked, do you dare to move against Dragon Hall with me? Yo, Li Fan sized up Lu Xinan. I really couldn't tell that our big Missy Lu's ambition is not small. Dragon Hall actually dared to treat me like this. I will definitely not let them off. Lu Xinan's expression was gloomy. This Missy had been tortured quite badly this time. Fine. According to Li Fan's character in the past, when talking about cooperation, he would definitely take money. But this time, Li Fan was free. He owed Lu Xinan and he owed a lot. When had Big Missy Lu ever suffered? This time, she was completely helping Li Fan to take the blame. What is Dragon Hall? How should we deal with it? Tell me, I will help you. Dragon Hall will deal with it later, deal with the vanguard first. Lu Xinan said, since the Elders' Council has fallen, Dragon Hall will have no power in this city after dealing with the vanguard. Then we still have to get rid of the vanguard first. Okay, I like this. Li Fan had long disliked Yang Ruining. This guy, every second he lived was a waste of the air in this world. But it was useless to just get rid of Yang Ruining. The vanguard was huge and had deep roots in a city. To get rid of the vanguard was not as simple as dealing with the yellow-clothed group. The vanguard was an organization that only trained elites. Their department was small in manpower, but each of them was an elite. Moreover, the vanguard was not like the yellow-clothed group. They did not have many underworld businesses in a city. Most of them were legitimate businesses, so it would not be possible to rely on the methods they used to deal with the yellow-clothed group. Chapter 527. Li Fan had already agreed with Lu Xinan to find the whereabouts of the Great Ming Dynasty's treasure after settling the matter of the vanguard army. Lu Xinan had already launched a full-scale business war with the vanguard army. If she wanted to defeat the vanguard army, a business war was indispensable. But at the same time, Li Fan also provided manpower for Lu Xinan to deal with the 4 halls of the vanguard army. There were 4 halls under the vanguard army: Wind, Forest, Fire, and Fire Hall. Among them, the Fire Hall was in charge of territory. They were the best at fighting and had countless gold medal fighters. This group of people were the elites of the vanguard army. They received devil-like training every day to cultivate their combat strength. According to the information that Li Fan understood, there weren't many people in the Fire Hall. It had always been maintained at around 50 people. These 50 people were all powerful generals. It wasn't a problem for one of them to fight 4 or 5 people. The Fire Hall master was called Jin Hui. He was a famous gold medal fighter from the Special Forces. He was Yang Ruining's left and right hand and had always been fighting for Yang Ruining. It could be said that if there was no Jin Hui in a city, there wouldn't be the current Yang Ruining. Yang Ruining's father was different from others. He also trained his son like an elite. Back then, he kicked Yang Ruining out of the family and let him live alone. Yang Ruining roped in 4 people. Their leader was Jin Hui from the Hall of Fire. He fought against 10 people alone and gathered even more underlings. Like a wildfire, they helped Yang Ruining expand his territory. Jiang Jun of the Wind Hall was a scheming person. He was in charge of scheming against Yang Ruining. He was in charge of gathering intelligence and helping to gather information. It was said that everything big and small in a city couldn't escape his eyes and ears. Other than the 2 of them, there was also the Forest Hall's Kaga Boji. This kid was a ninja from the island country. Yang Ruining had spent an unknown amount of money and was even stubborn. He almost fell out with Jin Hui before taking this ninja in. But the rewards were also generous. Kaga Boji led a few assassins that the Forest Hall had trained to help Yang Ruining get rid of some of his enemies. Finally, there was Parker of the Mountain Hall. He was a British man with a high IQ and was good at business. Yang Ruining's small business had been turned into a big business by Parker. These 4 people had helped Yang Ruining all the way to where he was now. When Yang Ruining returned to the vanguard, he was already a feudal lord. Previously, in the vanguard army, Yang Ruining was just a young master and was looked down upon by everyone. But from that day onwards, no one dared to doubt Yang Ruining's strength. In other words, it was because of his own ability that he had such a status. He was not a pure young master, nor was he an idiot. If he wanted to take care of the vanguard army and Yang Ruining, he had to start with the 4 halls. Only by exterminating the 4 great halls could they touch Yang Ruining's foundation. These matters were left to Ling Tian and Bai Lin Luo to plan. Lu Xinnan was currently consolidating her forces. The Red Dragon Society was currently in disarray, and there were a few troublemakers who were constantly challenging Lu Xinnan's authority. Li Fan handed Yan Kai over to Lu Xinnan. Unlike Old Guan, Yan Kai was an upright person. Some of the dirty work could be left to Yan Kai, and there was basically no problem. He was temporarily a hands-off boss. After all, he was still a student and had to go to school. At this moment, he was sitting in the classroom, listening to Liao Wushuang's English lesson. Li Fan was bored to death, but Bai Lin Luo was seeing stars as if he was looking at a celebrity he worshipped. The power of a goddess was really extraordinary. Li Fan sat there, reading an English book on the surface, but in reality he was secretly looking at his phone and studying the Jianghu app. Recently, the Jianghu had become lively. Many sects and aristocratic families began to join forces to deal with the devil cult. The Sima family also symbolically sent some people to follow these sects and aristocratic families to form a Wulin alliance. The purpose of the Wulin alliance was to suppress the devil cult. The leader of this alliance was naturally Murong-ing. Murong-ing had something to do for the time being, and so did Li Fan. Not only did the Sima family send people to help Murong-ing in her crusade against the devil cult, but they were also preparing to cause trouble for Li Fan. This time, Fifan Escort Agency was playing a little too big. The Sima family was a tiger in the Jianghu, and Fifan Escort Agency had already slapped the tiger's butt. As the saying went, a tiger's butt should not be touched. Since Fifan Escort Agency had touched it, they had to pay the price. Li Fan was bored to death as he browsed through the app. Li Fan, stop playing with your phone. Pay attention in class. Liao Wushuang had already seen through Li Fan's little tricks. If you don't pay attention, you might have to repeat a year. Li Fan had no choice but to put his phone away. This Miss Liao had good eyesight. It seemed that he had to continue today's treatment. He looked around and realized that he would indeed be discovered. Apart from Bai Lin Luo, there were basically no other students around him. There were at least 3 rows of empty tables. Ever since the murder happened in the field, all the students basically avoided him. They all treated him as a god of plague. This could be considered a special case. Okay, class dismissed. The bell rang, and Liao Wushuang announced the end of class. Li Fan eagerly followed her. After all, he was also concerned about Miss Liao's health. Why are you in such a hurry? Liao Wushuang walked in front with the lesson plan in her arms. Her face was slightly red when she saw Li Fan following her. I'm just concerned about Miss Liao's health. Li Fan replied seriously, if anything happens to Miss Liao's health, it will be my loss, private number 2 middle school's loss, and the entire education industry's loss. Go to hell. You can't even speak properly. Liao Wushuang's heart was in a mess. This Li Fan, why is he so talkative? Miss Liao, Li Fan, you guys are together? At this time, Bai Lin Luo also walked over. Seeing Liao Wushuang and Li Fan together, he was a bit surprised, but he didn't care too much. Li Fan, you're too sinister. You don't study well in class, and always let Miss Liao give you special treatment. I have to get a good score. Li Fan can't say anything else, so he just casually replied. Miss Liao, what do you think of the article I showed you last time? Bai Lin Luo asked in a serious manner. Liao Wushuang smiled. This smile made Bai Lin Luo somewhat crazy. Not bad, it's a good article. Liao Wushuang expressed her approval to Bai Lin Luo. With your talent, I think if I talk to the professor at Columbia University, you should be able to successfully apply for Columbia University. Bai Lin Luo wants to go abroad? At that moment, Li Fan was slightly nervous. No, I won't go abroad. Bai Lin Luo didn't know if he was talking to Liao Wushuang or answering Li Fan's question. I can also do well in China. I like foreign literature, so I want to try it. Bai Lin Luo suddenly became a bit shy and hesitantly asked a question. Miss Liao, do you have a boyfriend? Chapter 528. Bai Lin Luo's question made Li Fan and Liao Wushuang stunned at the same time. The two of them looked at each other. What does Bai Lin Luo mean by asking this question? Not really. But I don't agree with teacher-student relationships. Teacher Liao is also so old-fashioned. Bai Lin Luo quickly said, but Teacher Liao doesn't need to be in such a hurry to oppose it. I believe I will have this honor. This is the first time Li Fan saw Bai Lin Luo being so proactive. Usually, even if it's a mission, he would come up with a plan like playing a game, very casually coming up with ideas. But this time, he seems to be serious. It's not easy to see hot blood in Bai Lin Luo. Student Bai Lin Luo, put more effort into your studies, teacher will be very happy. Liao Wushuang pretended to be serious, which made Li Fan feel weird. While he was surprised, he also felt a little embarrassed. This time, Bai Lin Luo actually took the initiative to confess to Liao Wushuang. Then what about my relationship with Liao Wushuang? Why would I think so? Between me and Liao Wushuang, isn't there only a teacher-student relationship? At this time, some students who passed by Li Fan immediately hid far away, but they could still vaguely hear their conversation. Oh my God! Teacher Liao dares to be so close to the little tyrant. I heard that the little tyrant has an underworld gang. It seems that the one wearing glasses is his military advisor. Oh my God, they won't harm Teacher Liao, right? These whispers, although Liao Wushuang and Bai Lin Luo can't hear them, Li Fan can hear them clearly. But what can he say? He is also too lazy to explain to these students. Then that's it for now. Liao Wushuang chatted with Bai Lin Luo for a while, and then said, in the future, if you have any articles, feel free to show them to me. Thank you, Teacher Liao. Bai Lin Luo was excited. He pushed up his spectacles and said, I will also work hard in this aspect. Classmate Bai, actually I already have someone I like in my heart. Liao Wushuang suddenly said, so I can't accept your confession. This was a huge blow to Bai Lin Luo. Teacher Liao, you have someone you like? He had never heard Teacher Liao mention this before. Liao Wushuang nodded seriously. Teacher didn't lie. I've liked him for a while. When Liao Wushuang said this, something strange flashed in her eyes. I think in this life, besides him, there will be no one else in my heart. Teacher Liao, is there really no chance at all? Bai Lin Luo was a little disappointed. I'm really sorry. You're a good person, I understand. Teacher Liao, I'll take my leave first. Bai Lin Luo left dejectedly. Li Fan hurriedly said goodbye to Liao Wushuang and went to find Bai Lin Luo. This guy, he wouldn't suffer from a psychological blow, right? In the past, he was a fragile little fellow. Now, would it cause him to have a relapse? Little Four Eyes, are you okay? Li Fan walked forward and hooked his arm around Bai Lin Luo's shoulder. You can always find another woman if you don't have one. Don't have any dark thoughts. What are you thinking? Am I that kind of person? Bai Lin Luo touched the fiery red badge on his collar. I'm a member of the Communist Youth League. I have high awareness. Don't talk nonsense. I can see your eyes are red. I'm just a little sad. It's not that exaggerated. A man doesn't cry easily. Bai Lin Luo was quite unyielding. I just tried to confess to the goddess. It's normal to be rejected. Teacher Liao even gave me a good person card. Just as Bai Lin Luo was about to say something, his hand suddenly trembled. There was no one around. Otherwise, they would have thought that Bai Lin Luo had some problem. Fuck Little Four Eyes, what's wrong? Li Fan hurriedly pulled Bai Lin Luo. You really can't take the blow? No, it's not that. My head hurts. Bai Lin Luo's face turned red. It was quite strenuous for him to speak. Fuck, why is my hand shaking when I have a headache? No, I don't know. I don't know why my head has been hurting lately. Bai Lin Luo knelt on the ground, gasping for air. Li Fan was a little anxious. He sent his true energy into Bai Lin Luo's body but didn't find anything strange. Bai Lin Luo suddenly stuffed his hand into his mouth. Li Fan was stunned. What's going on? But he actually slowly took out a card from his mouth. That card was faintly emitting some golden light before slowly fading. What the hell? Li Fan was a little shocked. This kind of thing was beyond his common sense. Sure enough, Bai Lin Luo sat on the ground, looked at the card in his hand and smiled bitterly. What's going on? Li Fan was very puzzled. You can spit out cards from your mouth and perform magic with me? I seem to have awakened a kind of superpower. Bai Lin Luo said a little awkwardly, I also don't know why. So I tried twice. Don't joke around. Did you lose your mind because you were dumped? Li Fan looked at Bai Lin Luo worriedly. We have such a good relationship. Why don't you believe me? Bai Lin Luo took out the other 2 cards. Now, as long as I am rejected, I will be given a good guy card. Li Fan looked at the 2 cards. One of them was clearly printed with a girl's face. Fuck, isn't this Wang Xiaoyuan? Li Fan looked at this card, which had AB class written on it. Yeah, I tried to confess my love to Wang Xiaoyuan, and I got the good guy card. Bai Lin Luo kept smiling bitterly. If I don't have a superpower, then I must be crazy. Fuck. Li Fan still felt it was a little unbelievable. But thinking that since the true energy existed, it was not impossible to have a superpower. But his incompetent advisor had awakened a superpower? Who is this card? Li Fan saw that the face of the woman on the other card was a little old and could not help but be surprised. This is my mother. Fuck, you even confessed to Auntie? You beast. What are you talking about? I just tried to tell my mother that I love you. Then she said that I was a good boy and I got this card. Unfortunately, it is a C class. Li Fan really broke down. Bai Lin Luo. What is going on? Well, even if this is a superpower, what is with these cards? Li Fan took the 2 cards and looked at them, but he couldn't find any clues. I'm not sure. I just know that I can get a good guy card. But I don't know the specific function. Wait. Li Fan picked up Liao Wushuang's card. This was an A-class card, which seemed to be very precious. But the name written on the card, Liao Qianqian. Chapter 529. What happened to Liao Qianqian? Is there something wrong with your good guy card system? Li Fan couldn't help but ask. It shouldn't be. Look at Wang Xiaoyuan and my mom's names. They are both correct. Bai Lin Luo hurriedly explained. That's strange. Anyway, I'll keep Teacher Liao's card. You can have Wang Xiaoyuan's. Bai Lin Luo gave Wang Xiaoyuan's good guy card to Li Fan and reminded him, don't have any ideas about my mom. Damn, you think too much. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Holding Wang Xiaoyuan's card, he looked at the woman he used to like and sighed. But then he remembered that this card came from Bai Lin Luo's mouth. He couldn't help but wipe it on Bai Lin Luo's clothes. Damn it, I've wiped it clean, okay? Bai Lin Luo looked at Li Fan with hatred. But you should study this superpower of yours. But don't tell anyone about it except for me, okay? Li Fan was worried that Bai Lin Luo would be in danger. Before he practiced martial arts, he thought it could make him stronger. But he didn't expect that after practicing martial arts, he also stepped into a new field. There were many dangers here. Every martial arts practitioner was his own potential enemy. Martial artists seemed to attract each other. Li Fan believed that it should be the same among people with superpowers. He must protect Bai Lin Luo and not let him get hurt. After all, he didn't know what his ability was. What's the use of holding the good guy card? Li Fan reluctantly put Wang Xiaoyuan's card into his pocket and asked again. Are there no other cards? Not yet, I just tested Teacher Liao's ability. Bai Lin Luo shrugged. Try it on Yin Xiaoru, Xia Yi, and Lin Yuthi. Maybe it will work. Li Fan's expression was a little strange. Although it was a test of ability, he felt that something was wrong. I'm going back. Be careful on the road. And Sun Qingqian's car is still waiting for me outside. It's fine. Li Fan patted Bai Lin Luo's shoulder to reassure him. I'll send you home first, then I'll leave. Li Fan was now concerned about Bai Lin Luo's safety, so he decided to send him home first. No need, no need. What could happen to me? No one else knows about this, so don't worry too much. Bai Lin Luo was a smart man. He knew what was going on and declined Li Fan's offer. Let Sun Qingqian send you all the way. I'll ride the bike with Lin Yui. Li Fan saw Lin Ying standing at the school gate, waving at him as if calling him over. All right then. Bai Lin Luo knew Li Fan's temper, so he didn't waste any more time and directly went to the Audi. What's wrong today? You seem to be worried about little 4. Lin Yueten was smart and proficient in psychology. She could tell what Li Fan was thinking. Nothing big, Li Fan suddenly reminded, but if he confesses to you one day, you must say that he is a good person. Lin Yueten was shocked. Confess to me? Is he crazy? I'm just saying. Recently, he has been studying the psychology of women in love and likes to confess to others. He is also interested in psychology? Lin Yueten was a little surprised. She thought that Lin Luo was only interested in English. He is still young. His temperament is still uncertain. Pei, you speak as if your temperament is mature. You are much older than him. We are the same age. Now that you mention it, I just remembered. Li Fan patted his head. I am also a high school student. It's good that you know. Okay, quickly send me to the company. Seeing that she successfully reprimanded Li Fan, Lin Yuan was a little satisfied. She hadn't reprimanded Li Fan for a long time. She almost forgot that she was smarter than him. Li Fan was holding the handlebar when he suddenly saw several people rushing out from the corner. Several burly men stuffed Liao Wuxuang into a van and then stepped on the accelerator. The van sped away. Li Fan frowned. What's going on? Liao Wuxuang was caught? Moon Immortal, take a taxi to the company. What happened? Lin Yuan was puzzled. Teacher Liao had an accident. I will explain to you later. Li Fan didn't have time to explain. He rode his bicycle and chased after the van that had already gone far away. Do you want to call the police? Lin Yuan shouted at Li Fan's back. But Li Fan didn't answer. This guy is trying to be a hero again. Lin Yuan angrily said. Li Fan infused his true qi into his body. His bicycle speed was very astonishing. He closely followed behind the van. He was worried about Liao Wuxuang's safety. At the same time, he was also wondering who could actually kidnap an English teacher from the school. Li Fan's speed was very fast as lightning, like a bolt of lightning, closely chasing behind the boxcar. He rode to the front of the van. Through the window, a man was pointing a gun at Liao Wuxuang's head. He mouthed something to Li Fan and followed behind. Li Fan frowned. He was worried about Liao Wuxuang's safety. He could only obediently follow behind the van. The speed of the van was not slow, but it was also not particularly fast. The van and the bicycle, one in front and one behind, raced on the viaduct. Originally, the bicycle could not withstand the ferocious pedaling of Li Fan. But he transformed his true qi and wrapped it around the bicycle, strengthening the body. Since it was transformation, not only could it be condensed into the shape of a human or a beast, but it could also be attached to a variety of tools to strengthen them. Compared with the time when he just got his true qi, the current Li Fan has matured a lot. In the city, Li Fan didn't want to make too much noise. More than half an hour later, they went out of the city one after another. The van directly stopped in front of an abandoned warehouse, and a few people pushed Liao Wuxuang into the warehouse. You guys, it's time to stop. Li Fan came from the side. Let Liao Wuxuang go, or you'll all die. Let her go? How can that be? A man turned around with a pistol in his hand and pressed it on Liao Wuxuang's waist. At the same time, he smiled at Li Fan. I spent so much effort just to lure you out, Li Fan. Li Fan, don't worry about me. Let's go. Liao Wuxuang shouted at Li Fan. Shut up. A man next to her raised his hand, wanting to slap Liao Wuxuang. After all, Liao Wuxuang was a woman. She closed her eyes in fear. If you dare to touch her, I'll kill you. Li Fan stretched out a finger and pointed at the man. Meeting Li Fan's eyes, the man, who was originally fierce, now subconsciously withdrew his hand. Li Fan, why are you so excited? For the sake of your woman, you'd better take 2 steps back. Chapter 530. For the sake of your woman, you'd better take 2 steps back. The man was wearing a black jacket. He looked a little fierce, but his eyes hid a cunning look. At first glance, one could tell that he was not a good person. This kind of man was very difficult to deal with. Especially the way he looked at her, full of vigilance. She couldn't provoke him, otherwise, It would be bad for Liao Wushuang. Although she said that she wanted Li Fan to leave quickly, Liao Wushuang's expression betrayed her. She was very afraid. Are you so afraid of me after finding me? Li Fan looked at the man in the jacket and asked. I'm quite afraid of you. The man in the jacket admitted very generously, I know your ability. You're very powerful. So, I have to keep a certain distance from you. Really? Cut the crap, step back. The voice of the man in the jacket suddenly became sharp, like a roar. Li Fan immediately took 2 steps back and raised his hands at the same time. Don't be impulsive, I won't go over. That's more like it. The man in the jacket nodded with satisfaction. Keep a distance from me. If you come within 5 meters of her, I'll shoot her. Li Fan stood there, not daring to move. But his mind was spinning quickly, thinking about how to save Liao Wushuang. These people were not ordinary kidnappers. They were definitely professionals. Each of them stared at him very closely, and each of them had calluses on their hands. At a glance, he could tell that they were not ordinary people. Li Fan was also looking at these people, for fear that they would do something bad to Liao Wushuang. But what concerned him the most was the man in the jacket. He was different from these people. This man was wearing a leather jacket and a pair of jeans. Although it was ordinary clothes, Li Fan could see that this man was a martial artist. He licked his lips at Li Fan and then walked into the small factory. The whole old warehouse was a little dim and smelled a little damp. This place doesn't look like a good place. It's a necessary place for bad things in TV and movies. Li Fan frowned, constantly calculating in his heart. How could he save Liao Wushuang and let her leave with him safely? Li Fan pretended to stare at Liao Wushuang, but in fact his mind was on the others. As a martial artist, Li Fan should be observant and alert. Take a seat. After the jacketed man tied Liao Wushuang to the chair, he pointed at Li Fan. There was also a chair behind Li Fan, but this chair seemed to be specially made. It was made of steel and welded to the ground. Under the threat of the man in the jacket, Li Fan could only sit on the chair obediently. As soon as he sat down, alloy steel plates popped out from the chair and fixed his hands and feet to the chair. It seems like you guys are quite afraid of me. Li Fan sneered and looked at the man in the jacket in front of him. It's my honor to be given such special treatment. Yeah, after all, young hero Li is too dangerous. If I don't lock you up, I won't feel at ease. The man in the jacket said, checked his pistol, and then aimed at Li Fan in front of him. I want to know, in this state, can you still block bullets? You're not a gun user. Li Fan was very calm. Why don't you use what you're good at to deal with me? How about it? Young hero Li, you really have a good eye. The man in the jacket couldn't help but clap his hands. Young hero Li is such an excellent person, I really can't bear to kill you. I'm a bit reluctant, what should I do? Even if I die, you should let me die knowing. Li Fan sat there, looking at the man in the jacket opposite him. Who the hell are you? You can't say that. The man in the jacket was not so easy to fool. Whether you die or not, it's hard to say. Li Fan, you have countless opportunities to die, but you survived. I'm not one of those bad guys in the book. I'm not stupid, I won't tell you these things. It doesn't matter if you say it or not, I already know. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Are you trying to scare me? Is the competition in King of Hell very fierce? Li Fan asked, after killing me, you should be able to be promoted to a white card killer, right? The man in the jacket frowned slightly. You hang, nicknamed Scorpio? The killer you met on the train last time should be from the same sect or a brother of yours. Li Fan's words made the man in the jacket frown deeply, but he quickly relaxed. Good, little tyrant lives up to his name, you're quite good. Yu Hang gave a thumbs up. As for me, I'm really not good at using guns, nor am I good at kidnapping. The reason why I kidnapped you today was not my idea. So if you die, don't blame me. The one who cooperated with you should be Storm. Li Fan continued, only this notorious mercenary would spend money to hire people from King of Hell. As long as they can complete the mission, they will do anything, right? Yu Hang stared at Li Fan. You're really smart? So smart that I kind of hate you now. As he spoke, he raised his pistol. It was a Czech-produced CZ 100 9mm caliber with a 13-round clip. Brother, I'm sorry, I'm really not good at using guns, so I wanted to try this thing. Can you still catch bullets in your current state? As he spoke, Yuhang pulled the trigger and fired 3 shots. Bang bang bang. Li Fan did not move, the bullets hit the wall behind him. Liao Wushuang sat there, screaming, obviously frightened by Yuhang's sudden shot. Your marksmanship is too lousy. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. Don't worry, there are 13 bullets, I can hit you. As he spoke, Yuhang continued to pull the trigger, shooting at Li Fan. Bullets kept flying, but Li Fan was still sitting there, motionless. Almost all the bullets were fired, but Yuhang was lucky, the last bullet was aimed at Li Fan. But a figure stood up from Li Fan, stretched out 2 fingers, and pinched the bullet. What? Yuhang was shocked. He looked at the figure standing up from Li Fan, not knowing what the hell was going on. What kind of kung fu is this? The fist of the 7 heroes. Li Fan replied lazily. Damn, this is strange. Let's kill that woman first. Yuhang turned his head, only to find Liao Wushuang standing behind him, safe and sound, and a dark guard of the Brocade's secret guard standing there, holding a black saber in his hand, slowly dripping with blood. All of Storm's mercenaries were taken down by her, and his hostage was saved by her. Heartless Saber, you actually helped this guy. I really didn't expect it. Yuhang gritted his teeth. I understand now. You were the one who secretly told him my identity, right? Chapter 5:31. Yushi didn't say a word. She had always been a person of few words to others. How strange. Embroidered uniform guard is actually working with Little Tyrant. Yuhang also had intelligence. He knew that Little Tyrant was on the embroidered uniform guard's wanted list. This time I lost. But don't think you'll have it easy. As he spoke, the ceiling suddenly shattered. A mighty figure fell from the sky, bringing dust and gravel, landing in front of Yu Shi and Li Fan. Warhammer controlled the armor on his body and slowly stood up. This place is really far, aren't you a little late? Yuhang cursed, the people from Storm are so fucking late. I'm already keeping my promise by coming. Warhammer's armor emitted waves of energy, as if it was adjusting the status of the armor. I hate working with Chinese the most. It's not too late if you leave now. Forget it. For the mission, I'll sacrifice a little. Warhammer and Yuhang were now working together. Yushi placed Liao Wushuang to the side, then held the black saber and slashed at Warhammer and Yuhang. The air violently fluctuated, and a black light appeared. The two dodged to the side at the same time. They could tell that this black light was not simple. Oh no. But Yuhang seemed to remember something, but when he turned his head, it was already too late. The saber had already split the metal restraints on Li Fan's body. He stretched his muscles and stood up. Actually, I can do it myself. He even said with a smile, which was enough to piss people off. But there's no other way. Our Heartless Saber is a warm-hearted girl. Heartless Saber? Warm-hearted? Yuhang didn't believe this nonsense. Who was this Heartless Saber? The number of souls she had killed was probably more than a professional assassin like him. Fine, it seems like I'm destined to fight you today. Let me choose my opponent. As soon as Warhammer finished speaking, Yuhang had already pounced on Li Fan. That's why I hate Chinese. Warhammer curled his lips and turned to look at Heartless Saber Yushi. This girl with only one eye didn't seem to be easy to deal with. Heartless Saber, Heartless Saber. As soon as Yushi finished speaking, she appeared behind Warhammer. However, at some point in time, Warhammer's arms had joined together, forming a complete shield that blocked Yushi's attack. Red sparks popped up on the shield, which was a souvenir left by Yushi's saber. What a fast blade! As expected of a famous master. However, your saber has no effect on me. My armor is the same as the shield. It's made of superalloy. With that, Warhammer proudly flashed the shield on his arm. You should give up. Your sword can't hurt me. As soon as Warhammer finished speaking, a deep knife mark appeared on his shield. It was as deep as a fingernail. Warhammer stared at the scar on his shield, speechless for a long time. Motherfucker, are you kidding me? The superalloy was actually injured by a steel knife. You win. Warhammer put away his shield and looked at Yushi solemnly. Storm Mercenary Special Force Warrior Warhammer, please enlighten me, he said to Yushi in the Chinese way. Yushi didn't say a word. She held her black saber and pointed at Warhammer. On the other side, Li Fan and Scorpio Yuhang were also fighting. The two of them quickly exchanged blows, exchanging 3 or 4 blows before separating again. Good lad, you're strong. Yuhang looked at Li Fan, a trace of haze flashed in his eyes. As expected of a quasi-white card, you live up to your reputation. Li Fan wasn't stingy with his praise. As a martial artist, he had to be honest. In Hell Palace, the white card was 1 level higher than the black card, and the highest was the red card. It was said that only one assassin had this card. This Yuhang specialized in leg techniques. Li Fan began to focus. He wasn't in a hurry to use the 7 Brilliance Fist. Instead, he paid more attention to Yuhang's every move. Yuhang stood in front of him. His right shoulder suddenly moved. Li Fan immediately raised his left arm and blocked Yuhang's leg whip. Yuhang was surprised. He was known as the bullet leg, and his leg speed was astonishing. How could it be seen through today? Good lad, are you looking at my shoulder? Yuhang understood. He was an expert and knew how to see through his opponent's leg technique. No matter how good one's leg technique was, it was hard to keep the shoulder stable when kicking. Even the slightest tremble was enough to attract the attention of an expert. But even if you see it, you won't be able to block it. Yuhang quickly kicked out like a bullet, attacking Li Fan at high speed. Li Fan used Crane's hand to form a vacuum around his body. He blocked Yuhang's bullet leg time and time again. But Yuhang's bullet leg was not called for nothing. Not only was it fast, the force of each kick had the power of a bullet. Every time Li Fan blocked his opponent's leg, his palm would be numb from the impact and he would be forced to retreat. This Yuhang was really hard to deal with. The power of his technique was not to be underestimated. He had trained his leg technique for at least 20 years. Every time he kicked out, it was natural. His legs were much more useful than a gun. King of Hell's 3 nods. Yuhang suddenly jumped into the air, turned around, and kicked out 3 times in a row. Every single one of these 3 kicks carried a terrifying power. If the kick landed on a person's body, it would probably leave 3 holes in their body. Li Fan could already feel the power of this ultimate technique. If it was just 1 kick, his agile snake comes out of its hole would be able to neutralize it. Or he could use striking the tiger to counterattack. But it was 3 kicks in one breath, and each kick was perfect. There was not a single flaw. Who knew how many times his opponent had practiced this technique? It was like a divine technique. In the blink of an eye, the 3 kicks landed on Li Fan's body. Li Fan's body was torn apart. Yuhang did not have the slightest bit of joy. He landed on the ground and frowned. 7 Brilliance Fist. It play. Once again, Li Fan created an afterimage and deceived Yuhang. His body appeared behind Yuhang, and at the same time, he placed a hand on Yuhang's shoulder. Li Fan was about to activate Subduing the Bear, but he suddenly felt a trace of danger. Li Fan took a step back, and one of Yuhang's feet brushed past his chest. The front of Li Fan's shirt was torn to 2 sides. Yuhang was practically sprawled on the ground with both hands on the ground. One of his legs was stretched out, and the other was raised high. He looked like a scorpion, ready to attack its prey. Yuhang turned around and stared at Li Fan. This must be your scorpion technique. Li Fan could not help but be wary. So you practice Xingyi Quan. Impressive. Chapter 5:32. Yuhang didn't make a sound. He just lay there and stared at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. His entire body was like a poisonous scorpion, his eyes staring at its prey. Although it didn't look good, the Xingyi martial arts did look like it had reached the acme of perfection. Li Fan couldn't help but be alert as he looked at Yuhang in front of him warily. Yu Hang suddenly leaped out and grabbed Li Fan's legs with his hands like a scorpion's pincers. His leg, which was propped up, was like a scorpion's poisonous stinger, and it stabbed Li Fan's chest. Bang! Qi exploded from Li Fan's back. He spat out a mouthful of blood and broke free from Yu Hang's hands. He took 2 steps back and landed on the ground behind him. Yu Hang was still lying there, his eyes glowing with a poisonous light, making Li Fan shudder. Li Fan felt that he had underestimated the experts in the world. Yu Hang's scorpion skill was indeed domineering. Li Fan felt that he couldn't just sit and wait for death. Li Fan took a step forward, trying to capture Yu Hang. However, Yu Hang leaped back and retreated 3 meters. Then, he spread his legs and hung on the pillar behind him. Yu Hang looked down at Li Fan condescendingly. He suddenly leaped down, turned his body, and swung his leg down from behind like an axe. Half moon illuminates the river. His leg came down from above, carrying the power of thunder. Li Fan stretched out his hands to block in front of him, but he was forced to kneel on the ground by the force of the kick. Bang! The ground under his feet was crushed. Li Fan shook his arms and pushed Yu Hang's body away. Yu Hang landed on the ground and bounced toward Li Fan again. His speed on the ground was extremely fast, like a scorpion pouncing on its prey. Li Fan had bullet time, but he couldn't keep up with Yu Hang's speed. Because Yu Hang's movement on the ground was too strange, Li Fan's eyes couldn't follow him at all. This was not a good sign. As soon as Li Fan thought of this, the hairs on his back stood up. He didn't know when Yu Hang had flashed past his crotch, but his scorpion leg was already stabbing toward his back. Li Fan did not have enough time to turn around, he could only use his true qi to protect his body, trying to block this kick. Bang! Like an old monk striking a bell, Li Fan felt as if his internal organs were about to explode from this kick. He somersaulted forward to dispel Yu Hang's strength and stood up again. Li Fan was entangled with Yu Hang and seemed to be at a disadvantage. On the other side, Yu Shi was fighting with her warhammer. Yu Shi swung the long saber in her hand, sending out waves of saber light. Warhammer could only helplessly hide in his armor, relying on the superalloy on his body to resist. No matter how sturdy his battle armor was, it was now covered in scars. Clearly, he had been suppressed to the point where he couldn't fight back at all. Good. Chinese martial artist, you have angered me. Warhammer was already angry. Not only was Yu Shi's saber fast, but her movement technique was also like a shadow, making it impossible for him to catch her. However, he still had the most advanced technology of Storm. A cannon hole popped out of this guy's arm, and he shot a steel needle to the ground. This steel needle stabbed into the ground, and a metal part at the top popped open, revealing a blue glowing object inside. Then, a powerful magnetic field appeared within a radius of 10 meters, pulling Yu Shi's footsteps, making her body even heavier. Not only that, the black saber in her hand also became like a small mountain, dropping in her hand, making her feel even more pressured. This is a super magnetic field. Warhammer said proudly, in this magnetic field, only my anti-magnetic device will not be affected. As for you, you can only pray for your own good. As he said that, Warhammer stretched out his hand, and the drone in the sky immediately threw down a metal container in the shape of a medicine bag, smashing behind him. The metal container slowly opened, and Warhammer took 2 steps back and walked over. The metal container completely disintegrated, and many mechanical arms stretched out from it, removing some of Warhammer's armor, and put new armor on his body. Soon, Warhammer changed into a brand new set of armor. This set of armor was red and black, and the logo of Storm was still printed on it. This is a new kinetic armor, and its combat power is twice as strong as the one I usually wear. Warhammer introduced, you have to be careful, don't die too early. As he said that, he moved. From where the metal container was, a mechanical arm threw out a metal hammer, which he caught in his hand. This hammer was equipped with a propulsion device, and when Warhammer was swung, it would spit out flames in the opposite direction, strengthening the strength of the swing. Yu Shi slightly frowned. She calmed herself down and unleashed 2 blade beams at the Warhammer. Clang! The hammer in Warhammer's hand met the saber lights, and flames sprayed out. This hammer's density was obviously higher than superalloy, and it actually shattered Yushi's saber lights. As the flaming hammer pushed forward, Warhammer smashed toward Yushi. Yushi maintained her calm. She quietly watched Warhammer fall in front of her, and then she shook the black saber. The saber lights vibrated, as if it was resonating with something. That sound pierced into Warhammer's ears, and he subconsciously shook his head. Unbeknownst to Zhang Xian, the Yushi before him had split into 3 identical people, wielding a black saber in their hands as they stared at him. Warhammer was shocked. What was going on? Detected a concussion caused by tinnitus. The system's notification sounded faintly, as if it came from the distant horizon. Warhammer swore in his heart. No matter how many opponents there were, he would take them all down. He swung the flaming hammer, and the propulsion device on the hammer propelled his body, causing his whole body to spin, and a powerful whirlwind swept toward Yushi. His frontal attack was quite effective. Yushi's attempt to confuse him was ineffective. Li Fan, who was standing behind, saw Warhammer and was worried that Yushi would be at a disadvantage. For some reason, he almost subconsciously took out Wang Xiaoyuan's card from his arms, poured true qi into it, and shot it toward Warhammer. Originally, Li Fan only wanted to use this good guy card as a hidden weapon, but something unexpected happened. The good guy card suddenly blossomed with a dazzling light in midair, causing everyone to subconsciously close their eyes. When they opened their eyes again, a living Wang Xiaoyuan appeared in the air. However, she was different from the green tea bitch he knew. This Wang Xiaoyuan was wearing a beautiful battle suit, just like the armor in Saint Seiya. Holding a shield in her left hand and a sword in her right, she pounced on Warhammer. What the fuck? What's going on? Li Fan was a little surprised. Is the good guy card working? Warhammer was calm. After all, he was dizzy and couldn't see what was going on at all. In the blink of an eye, Wang Xiaoyuan had already thrown herself in front of him. Chapter 5:33. Wang Xiaoyuan, who looked like a Saint Seiya, blocked Warhammer's charge with her shield. Although Wang Xiaoyuan's body was sent flying, Warhammer's footsteps were also blocked for a second. That second was enough for Yushi. She flung out a blade aura and cut the metal rod that was releasing the magnetic field in half. Wang Xiaoyuan also got up from the ground. She had one of her arms cut off by Warhammer, but she didn't show any expression. She just continued to attack Warhammer with her sword in the other hand. Yushi also jumped to Warhammer's head and slashed down with her blade. Although the spinning Warhammer was very powerful, it couldn't hit the target above its head. This time, the blade cut a crack in Warhammer's helmet. He rolled to the ground, got up again, and quickly scanned the battlefield. The tinnitus was gone, and Warhammer saw Yushi's figure again, including the woman who rushed to him with one arm. The woman didn't seem to feel pain at all. She held a sword and slashed at Warhammer's head. Warhammer's hammer swept, and her body was directly smashed into the air. Li Fan felt that it was a pity. This B-level good guy card seemed to only have this much power. She was completely a meat shield. Li Fan thought while fighting Yu Hang. Why did Wang Xiaoyuan appear in this form? Although her armor was a bit ordinary, there were some lion shapes printed on it. Moreover, her shield was a silver lion head. Li Fan wondered if it had something to do with Wang Xiaoyuan being a Leo. The B-level Wang Xiaoyuan didn't seem to have much combat power. In the blink of an eye, she was smashed by Warhammer's hammer twice, and bits of starlight scattered. The good guy card returned to Li Fan's hand, and it had turned gray. It seemed that this good guy card couldn't be used for the time being. Li Fan took a closer look and saw a small Leo symbol in the lower corner of the card. Sure enough, it was a bit similar to what he had guessed. Warhammer and Yushi fought again, and Yu Hang also attacked from behind Li Fan. This killer, who was about to be promoted to a white card, had superior skills. Moreover, the scorpion martial art was too sinister, making Li Fan a little tired to deal with it. The Fist of the Seven Heroes pursued a one-hit kill. This was the first time Li Fan had been entangled for so long. Most importantly, he couldn't catch a glimpse of Yu Hang. Li Fan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Mind eye? Li Fan did not know what the mind's eye was. Although he closed his eyes, he could still determine it through the sound. However, the scorpion art could come and go without a trace, not even making a sound. It was basically impossible to determine its location by listening to the wind. As for the mind's eye, it was extremely mysterious. Although Li Fan could sometimes sense the changes in all living things, it was only when he was cultivating. At that time, his state of mind was at peace, as if he could become one with nature. But now that they were fighting, how could they easily enter such a state? But he had other ideas. Li Fan closed his eyes and released his true qi, filling the surroundings and forming a unique space. Within a radius of 30 meters, everything was under Li Fan's control. In this space, even the slightest fluctuation could be felt by Li Fan. Soon, a figure crawling away alerted Li Fan's true qi. Chasing deer. Li Fan suddenly lifted his leg. With a blue electric light, he swept Yu Hang's shoulder. Bang! Yu Hang's body was kicked high into the air and hit the second floor's balcony. He endured the injury, split open his legs, and hung on the second floor. Yu Hang's body turned, and with a half moon illuminates the river, he prepared to kick Li Fan's head. Beating the tiger. The moment Yu Hang's body entered the range of his true qi, Li Fan also saw his opponent's flaw. Bang! Yu Hang's body was heavily injured once again. His chest took a slap from Li Fan, and he was sent flying and fell to the ground. Li Fan spread out his hands, and with his eyes still closed, he stood in the same spot. Yu Hang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked at Li Fan in the warehouse, and his brows deeply furrowed. Yu Hang grabbed a brick from the side, and directly crushed it into a handful of crushed stones. Then he used it as a hidden weapon, and threw it at Li Fan opposite him. A pile of hidden weapons went straight for Li Fan. After entering Li Fan's true qi domain, they were all crushed by his crane hand. Yu Hang felt a trace of unease. He quickly moved around Li Fan, throwing crushed stones in all directions, as if trying to determine Li Fan's blind spots. But no matter which direction it was, Li Fan could easily knock the stone away every time. He had no blind spots. Yu Hang gritted his teeth. Suddenly he saw a few corpses on the ground, and immediately grabbed them and threw them at Li Fan. At the same time, he also pounced forward, mixed in with the corpses, and attacked Li Fan together. This time, Li Fan was indeed confused by the corpses. He used the crane hand a few times, but it didn't feel right. But Li Fan couldn't let any of them go. When one of the crane hand hit, Li Fan's true qi felt strange. The opponent's leg broke through his true qi and went straight for his face. Scorpion tail needle. Yu Hang's shout rang in his ears, but Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes. He stretched out his right hand and pinched the air. Unknowingly, Li Fan's true qi had turned into a chain and wrapped around Yu Hang's body, fixing him to the ground. Yu Hang stood there, both his hands and legs tied up, and the ultimate move he was about to use was also blocked. Toad transformation. This was the flexible use of Li Fan's move. True qi exploded from Yu Hang's body and attacked the chains, shattering the chains formed from true qi. But for Li Fan it was enough. He was already in front of Yu Hang, and the Ape King cannon hit Yu Hang's chest. Bang! Yu Hang's body flew out like a cannonball, blasting through the wall of the warehouse, and fell outside. And on the other side, Warhammer was also being forced back by Yu Shi. Seeing that Yu Hang was defeated, he seemed to have lost the will to fight, and wanted to escape. Li Fan chased him to the outside of the wall, and saw only a pool of blood on the ground. Yu Hang had escaped some time ago. You sure run fast. Li Fan snorted coldly. This Yu Hang's combat strength was high, and his martial arts were also very strong. If he didn't have Toad transformation, it would be really difficult to deal with him. Untrustworthy Chinese. Warhammer scolded, and he retreated as if he was looking for a chance to escape. After Yu Hang fled, Li Fan walked to Liao Wushuang's side. At this time, Liao Wushuang was scared out of her wits. She leaned against the wall, trembling. Li Fan gently held Liao Wushuang's shoulder, trying to comfort her. And Liao Wushuang also leaned into Li Fan's embrace, but at this moment, Liao Wushuang's hand suddenly pressed against Li Fan's chest. Chapter 5:34. Liao. Before Li Fan could finish his words, a small pistol in Liao Wushuang's hand had already smashed his chest. The bullet came out of Li Fan's back and hit the wall. Warhammer glanced at this side, a smile hanging on the corner of his mouth. You should have done it a long time ago. Flames spurted out from his back, and he quickly glided on the ground, grabbed Liao Wushuang, and fled through the broken wall. Li Fan's vision turned black, and his whole body fell backward heavily, smashing into the ground with a bang. He seemed to see his deceased grandparents standing in front of him, stretching out their hands and smiling at him, as if they wanted to guide him away from here. Li Fan. She almost knelt on the ground. You can't die. Her voice, in Li Fan's ears, was getting weaker and weaker. At this moment, the good guy card in Li Fan's arms suddenly jumped out by itself, as if it had been activated again. Wang Xiaoyuan, who was wearing the lion battle suit, picked up Yushi and rushed out of the warehouse with her, running hundreds of meters away. What are you doing? Let me go. Yushi wanted to push Wang Xiaoyuan away, but Wang Xiaoyuan didn't have the slightest emotion, just stood there, not letting go of Yushi. In the next second, the abandoned warehouse suddenly trembled violently, and then it began to collapse. All the plants within a radius of 100 meters quickly withered, as if the life energy was concentrated in one place. Together with all the surrounding electricity, it was sucked into Li Fan's body. At this time, Li Fan slowly floated in the air, vaguely like a black hole, sucking away everything around him. Star Luo's supreme skill automatically operated in his body, forming a small universe vortex, absorbing the surrounding life energy. Li Fan slowly stood up, his eyes emitting a scarlet light. Different from the usual Li Fan, his skin was dark black, and his hair had grown a lot longer. He stood there bare-chested, looking up at the sky. Every time he moved forward, a large patch of wild grass would wither and die in the area. It was clearly spring, the time when all living things were recovering, but it was ushering in the god of death that was even more terrifying than the end of winter. Yushi watched this scene from afar, her heart beating like a bell. Li Fan, what's wrong with him? Li Fan seemed to have changed into a different person. He raised his head and glanced at the sky. Then, a circle of green light burst out from his body. He half-squatted on the ground and bounced off his feet. Bang! The ground seemed to tremble and Li Fan's body suddenly shot up. With this leap, Li Fan crossed over 100 meters and appeared behind Warhammer in an instant. What? From the alarm on the radar, Warhammer discovered Li Fan chasing after him. He let out a strange cry, not daring to believe his eyes. He pulled open the wings on his armor and ran for his life with all his might. And Li Fan, who was supposed to be dead, had actually caught up? Did you really kill him? Warhammer bellowed. I pierced his heart. Liao Wushuang's voice was cold and indescribably strange. I definitely won't miss, damn it, but he's alive now. And even more powerful. While speaking, Li Fan had already landed on Warhammer's body. He stood on Warhammer's back and without waiting for Warhammer to react, he had already smashed his fist down. Bang! Warhammer directly spat out a mouthful of blood. His waist was pierced through by Li Fan's attack, and he could no longer maintain his balance in the air and fell to the ground. The system notification stated that Warhammer's life force was rapidly decreasing and he was not far from death. Under the effect of Star Luo Divine Art, Li Fan's combat strength had greatly increased. Moreover, he had destroyed Warhammer's spine and ended his life. Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan's falling body with complicated feelings. She pressed a button on her watch, and the armor on Warhammer's body immediately began to separate. Then, piece by piece, it was put on Liao Wushuang's body. Soon, this black and red armor became Liao Wushuang's possession. The moment she landed, the armor spurted out air, stabilizing her body and allowing her to steadily fall to the ground. The armor also reminded Liao Wushuang that her life force was rapidly decreasing and automatically activated the magnetic field protection. Li Fan also fell straight to the ground, leaving a deep pit on the ground. He stretched out his hand toward Liao Wushuang, and a strong true qi burst out from his palm and hit Liao Wushuang's body. Bang! Liao Wushuang felt as if she was hit by a cannon. her body flew upside down, and her true qi constantly impacted backward to stabilize her body. Liao Wuxuang looked at the emotionless Li Fan in front of her, and looked at the bullet hole scar on his chest, and her heart twitched. "I'm sorry." She only said such a sentence, then put her arms together, combined into an electromagnetic cannon, and fired at Li Fan. However, Li Fan simply waved his hand and smashed the electromagnetic cannonball. King Kong. Liao Wuxuang was a little shocked. She knew Li Fan's strength. It was impossible for him to block the electromagnetic cannon so easily with his current strength. What kind of palm technique is this? How did he come back from the dead? Since the plan failed, it was not a place to stay for long. Liao Wuxuang looked at Li Fan's appearance, and the scenes of the past echoed in her heart. She had to go back. Perhaps, this time, her father will be disappointed with her again. A daughter who can't practice martial arts was expelled from the family. Looking at Li Fan walking in front of her and his raised palm, Liao Wuxuang simply closed her eyes. Perhaps it would be good to die like this. But at this moment, a figure suddenly stood in front of her and used his neck to block Li Fan's knife. Clang! As if hitting the golden bell, Li Fan's palm bounced off. Amit Ba! A young monk stood there, turned his head and said to the dumbfounded Liao Wuxuang, "Female benefactor, although you are quite beautiful, now is not the time for this little monk to flirt." Liao Wuxuang did not hesitate and immediately turned to leave. "After he wakes up, remember to tell him that my name is Liao Qianqian." Subhoodie smiled bitterly, thinking whether this little monk could live until then or not. He had just returned from wandering outside and found that the murderous aura here was soaring to the sky. He rushed over to take a look, and it turned out that this person with murderous aura was Li Fan. "This little monk just went out for a few days to help the female benefactor. How did you become like this?" Subhoodie looked at the dark version of Li Fan in front of him and grinned, "Such a heavy inner demon. Let this little monk help you." Before he finished speaking, Li Fan had already slapped his face. Bang! Subhoodie's body was hit and slid a meter away, and his forehead was still emitting smoke. Chapter 5:35. Damn it! This time, Bodhi grimaced in pain. What kind of strength is this? Li Fan took another step forward, and the ground around him was withered. Bodhi thought to himself, "Thank goodness I have the invincible golden body, otherwise I would have been sucked dry." When had Li Fan practiced such an evil technique? Why did he feel like he was the legendary undying evil Buddha that sucked away one's life force? But the abbot had said that even if the evil Buddha was reborn, he would be his only nemesis. "Benefactor Li, wake up." Bodhi tried to persuade him, but Li Fan seemed to have turned a deaf ear to him. He kept attacking Bodhi with his palms. If not for Bodhi's invincible golden body, he would have been smashed into meat paste. Bodhi felt that Li Fan had lost his mind, so he put his palms together and closed his eyes, allowing Li Fan to hit him as he chanted the Diamond Sutra. The Diamond Sutra carried Bodhi's true qi, and every word entered Li Fan's ears, attacking the depths of his soul. His voice became louder and louder, shaking the air. Li Fan seemed to be affected, and his attacks became stronger and stronger. Even though Bodhi had the invincible golden body, he was still beaten to the point of vomiting blood. But he still gritted his teeth, enduring the roiling of his internal organs, and continued to chant the sutra loudly. The sutra was clear and pleasant to the ear. Li Fan struck 7 or 8 palms in a row, and the last palm was condensed with true qi, ready to strike down. His palm stopped in front of Bodhi's forehead, and his eyes slowly regained clarity. The skin on his upper body also recovered, turning back to white. "Fuck your Buddha." Subhoodie couldn't help but curse out loud. "I've finally recovered. I nearly died for real." Li Fan looked at his hands and seemed to be able to vaguely guess what he had done. "Just now, what did I do?" Li Fan seemed to have just woken up, but he knew that he must have done something he should not have done. "You nearly killed me." Bodhi circulated his internal energy to regulate his breathing. At the same time, he replied to Li Fan, "What kind of martial arts did you practice? Why is it so strange?" As he spoke, he glanced at the ground. Li Fan followed his gaze and looked down. Sure enough, the ground was already a patch of withered grass. There was no sign of life within 100 meters. Even some mosquitoes had suffered an unexpected disaster and died in large numbers. Li Fan was clearly aware that this was the sin caused by the StarNet Supreme technique. He had already switched his mental cultivation method back to the Seven Heroes Force in time to prevent himself from doing something irreversible. All he could remember was that Liao Wushuang had shot him before he fainted. Li Fan immediately checked his chest and found that there was a bullet hole, but it had magically healed. It seemed like the Stellar Luo Supreme art had saved his life. But because of this, it also activated some terrifying things. Li Fan could vaguely feel that something in his body was itching to break free from the restraints of his body and go on a killing spree. Teacher Liao, Li Fan touched the bullet hole in his chest and seemed to feel a kind of pain. This kind of pain was a little heart-wrenching. After all, Liao Wushuang already had a place in his heart. She actually wanted to kill him. Could it be that she really didn't care about the relationship between the two of them? If not for the Stellar Luo Supreme art, he would probably be dead. All right, there was a female benefactor who asked me to tell you that her name is Liao Chanqian. I got it. Li Fan nodded and was a little silent. After all, he really didn't know what to say. His worldview had just been impacted. Obviously, Liao Wushuang. No, Liao Chanqian was the spy that Storm had placed beside him. Storm had tried to assassinate him so many times. She was probably the one who tipped him off. I'm such a failure. Li Fan felt like crying, but as a man, he couldn't cry. When was the last time he cried? Li Fan had somewhat forgotten. Looks like this little monk can't be too far away from you. Subhoodie said, otherwise, the next time you act up, this little monk won't be able to help you. This is the last time. Li Fan solemnly swore, absolutely, absolutely the last time. The reason why he said this was that he would never be fooled by a woman in the future. Secondly, this Stellar Luo Supreme art saved him once, but could it save him a second time? Life was fragile. It was impossible to rely on a divine art to make oneself immortal. After all, he was not an undying evil Buddha. I hope so, but it's better for this little monk to keep an eye on you. Subhoodie felt that the reason why he could meet Li Fan was probably because of the fate given by Buddha. Every drink and every peck is predetermined. Amit Ba. All right, you don't have to chant Buddha's name anymore. Li Fan looked at the mess around him and the corpse of Warhem. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. This guy was already dead. He had harassed him so many times like a cockroach. But now, he was indeed dead. But the person who replaced him was a person that he could not imagine and did not want to hurt. That was Liao Wushuang. Forget it, it's useless to think about it. Li Fan stretched. Let's go back to the warehouse and take a look. Maybe she is still waiting for me. This little monk will accompany you. Subhoodie stuck to him like a dog's skin plaster. Li Fan did not refuse and let him follow him. After recovering his original strength, Li Fan did not have the ability to jump hundreds of meters. He used his qinggong and quickly approached the warehouse. But when he arrived, Yushi was no longer there. Only Wang Xiaoyuan, who was wearing a lion armor, was still standing there. Why did this guy come out by himself? But Li Fan vaguely remembered that before he fainted, he was subconsciously worried that he would use Stellar Luo Supreme art. He also knew how powerful this Stellar Luo Supreme art was. Subconsciously, he wanted Yushi to stay away from him. It was probably because of this thought that the good guy card condensed into Wang Xiaoyuan and escorted Yushi away. What about her? Li Fan asked. The character transformed by the good guy card didn't seem to be able to speak. She just shook her head and pointed to the east. Did she go back to the city? Li Fan was deep in thought. She probably went to deal with her issues. Then what should we do now? Of course, she went back too. I also have a lot of things to deal with. Li Fan thought of a lot of things. It was impossible not to be upset. He wanted to think for a while, but the phone in his trouser pocket rang. Li Fan opened it and saw that it was Lu Shinan. Li Fan, where are you? Come back quickly, I need your help. Lu Shinan's phone call was very urgent. It seemed that the matter was indeed very important. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.